joining us, our member countries for agreeing to be here and to share what's happening. And my friends in the media, thank you so much for your support and everything that you've done for us and for yesterday. And it was a brilliant day, wasn't it? And I'm sharing with you, I've done it already and I'm doing it now again, a link to yesterday's presentation. A number of you yesterday were asking for that. So right now it's shared in the chat feature here. But as we did yesterday, if you've got any questions, make sure you use the Q&A feature in Zoom, not chat, Q&A. And you don't have to wait until we say it's open. You can put the questions in as early as you can, and we'll deal with as many as we possibly can. Our first presenter today is the minister from Dominica, the Minister Denise Charles, and she will present for about 18 minutes. So we do 20 minutes session and roll to the next country and the next. And we begin with the Minister Denise Charles from Dominica. Minister, you can unmute your microphone and it's over to you.
Pleasant good morning, Mr. John Rose, to the CTO organization, distinguished guests, and the media. Greetings from Nature's Island. I really want to thank CTO, Caribbean Tourism Organization, for organizing this press briefing, for indeed, the Caribbean awaits. And as we say in Dominica, nature awaits families, friends, honeymooners, and adventure seekers, especially those who want to avoid crowds. Because of Dominica's vast land space, one can have their own personal space in our natural haven. Like everywhere else, we too have been actively managing the pandemic to minimize its negative effect on our citizens and visitors alike. We've developed and are continually reviewing our protocols as health and safety of all is our top priority. To date, about 50% of the target population has received one or more vaccines. And the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment has ramped up its vaccination campaign to increase our vaccination numbers. We expect to roll out the Pfizer vaccination next week. Safe in nature. So to ensure that the safety of our guests and citizens, and whilst allowing the tourism sector to thrive, Dominica developed Safe in Nature. This is a seamless experience managed by certified tourism service providers and led by certified properties. The managed experience keeps you and your family, friends in a bubble while you hike, dive, or snorkel, or just relax in our nature. We have safely hosted thousands of guests to our hotels and continue to provide unique tours and activities. This has been the lifeline of the tourism sector during the pandemic. One visitor even boasts that he would gladly quarantine in Dominica anytime, while another states that the Safe in Nature is just what she needed to provide a balance between health and adventure. Our effective management of the pandemic and the Safe in Nature managed experience earned Dominica the accolade inclusive of Safe Travel Seal by the World Travel Tourism Council. So travelers to Dominica can rest assured of our highest regard for their health and safety, while ensuring they enjoy the nature, culture, and adventure of Dominica. We are also on the UK Green List for quarantine-free travel upon returning to the United Kingdom. Further, to keep travelers updated with health protocols, we established the Tourism Customer Service Concierge Unit. Services offered by the unit includes responses to general inquiries, providing information on current health protocols and safety entry requirements, and also facilitating appointments for COVID-19 testing. I know that our tourism stakeholders and visitors to Dominica are very happy to have a unit dedicated to facilitate travels to and from Dominica. And now I've updated you on our services. I want to let you know that we also launched a very exciting campaign called In Our Nature. And that was to let the world know that Dominica was open to visitors, especially since we are often confused with Dominican Republic at times. In April, we launched this global awareness campaign to raise awareness of the interest in Dominica as a travel destination in which one can find everything amongst our natural wonders. The campaign focuses on our 5 tourism pillars: adventure, aqua, agro, health and wellness, and entertainment. In July, particularly targeting our neighboring islands, we launched the Dominica Bucket List online campaign to engage potential visitors whilst increasing awareness of the destination's offerings. The Dominica Bucket List campaign was conceptualized from the conviction that one should live life to the fullest, doing the things one loves and doing them more often. It highlights all the must-do activities in Dominica, experiences that you simply have to have in your lifetime. For example, hiking to the only boiling lake on this side of the globe. The other boiling lake is located in New Zealand. Swimming with sperm whales, meeting our indigenous people, the Kalinagos, or relaxing in a warm sulfur pool. And now I've updated you on some of the exciting campaigns we launched this year. Let me inform you on how you can get to Dominica. Visitors desirous of traveling to Dominica for business, romantic getaways, family vacations, adventure, diving, wellness, and cultural experience. We await you, and I must say that we now have more flight options and connectivity to get there. A major milestone for us this year was finally establishing direct flights from US mainland. As of December 8th, American Airlines will have direct flight service between Miami and Dominica. The non-stop service will operate twice weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. The aircraft will be an Embraer jet with business class, premium economy, and economy seating. This means that within a few hours, travelers can connect via Miami directly to Dominica from a number of cities, including Philadelphia, Boston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, New York City, New Jersey, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, Atlanta, Toronto, Canada, and arrive on the same day. This direct flight from Miami to Dominica complements the one-stop same-day service offered to travelers from major US cities on American Airlines, JetBlue, Caribbean Airlines, Delta, and Silver via respective hubs. Regarding Caribbean Airlines, travelers interested in flying to Dominica now have another option as Caribbean Airlines announced their new flight schedule from New York. As of April 1st, 2021, Caribbean Airlines launched non-stop service between JFK, New York, and Barbados with seamless onward connections to Dominica. The schedule is set to operate out of Barbados on Thursdays and out of New York on Saturdays. Caribbean Airlines also offers direct flights to Dominica from Trinidad. So travelers have additional options when planning their trip to Nature's Island. We are also exploring new hubs, such as Punta Cana from Dominican Republic, and more efficient routes with our existing airline partners, in particularly Inter-Caribbean Airways. And we also have exciting news that including the opening of new properties in Dominica. So in December of this year, we expect the Colibri Ridge, a 5-star eco resort with 14 spacious air-conditioned studios and duplex suites to open. In recent years, Dominica has had some property openings and offering luxury offerings. In 2011, Secret Bay opened with 6 villas. They have now expanded to 10. Jungle Bay opened in June 2019, have now increased their rooms to 86. We have Cabrit's Resort Kempinski, which opened in October 2019 with 151 total rooms. We await the completion of construction and the opening of Anishi Resort Marriott. This one-of-a-kind resort is branded by the Marriott International, and also Tranquility Beach Resort, a collection by Hilton. We also have our locally renowned resorts, such as Rosalie Bay Resort and Fort Young Hotel. So Contemporary clean line marks the architecture and construction of most of our resorts. Just to give you further information on Tranquility, which we expect to open in the first quarter of 2022, it's a 73-room hotel, spa, and restaurant development, which comprises of a mixture of 203-bedroom villas and condo suites built in 15 buildings, couched in a full-service setting. We realize that visitors are also desirous of easy, one-click options for travel, and we have continuously urged our accommodations and service for providers to offer all-inclusive packages. And I'm pleased to announce that we recently, Fort Young Hotel launched their all-inclusive plan to Dominica. We are so proud that some of our most popular properties have taken this on. And so you can expect in the coming months to see more packages being offered to visit Dominica.
Mister, you have 8 minutes left, yeah?
Okay. We also had the reopening of cruise in Dominica. We decided to take a regional approach, so protocols were developed among the region, Barbados being the main hub. And I'm pleased to say that we're expecting 272 cruise calls for the season. And visitors come to Dominica, they enjoy Mero Beach, they visit the Kalinago village, they go to Trafalgar Beach Resort. And so we have an exciting cruise season ahead of us. And so we are pleased to let everyone know that we expect to see many more cruise calls over last year to Dominica. For our Work in Nature program, someone who is looking for a long, refreshing break after all the COVID-19 lockdowns, it has really been a very challenging year for many people in different parts of the world. We now offer a program where you can work from Dominica called Work in Nature. It's our extended visa stay program, and you can visit Discover Dominica website to get more information on that program. I wish to thank CTO once again for the opportunity to share on the exciting things happening to Dominica, and I look forward to share with you next time. Until next time, Nature Island awaits you, and I would like to share a taste of one of our latest campaigns, the Bucket List video with you right now.
All right, well, thank you so much, Minister. We've got a few questions here, and we've got exactly 4 minutes and 52 seconds to deal with all of them. So first of all, Gay Myers, well, before that, Brian was first, the hardworking Brian Major. What percentage of Dominica's residents are vaccinated, and what percentage of tourism workers are vaccinated?
So for Dominica, as I said, 50% of our target population are vaccinated. And for tourism workers, it's about 65%.
Okay, thank you. Gay Myers, how do we reach the Tourism Customer Service Unit? Is there a website, email address?
You can visit discoverdominica.com. You'll get a link to the concierge service, and all the contact information will be there.
And Brian, who writes a lot about cruises, also wants to know whether cruise ship activity in 2021 will or has approached 2019 levels. He just wants to know what's going on.
We expect, based on the number of calls that are projected, are scheduled, that we may surpass 2019 numbers.
That's in 2021?
Yes.
Okay. Rhonda, look, how has Dominica's tourism ministry responded to the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of crisis management? And she's got another question, but I'll let you deal with this one first.
Well, from the onset of the pandemic, as you know, we worked with the Ministry of Health to develop strict protocols to ensure that our visitors can continue to visit Dominica. And that is why we launched a Safe in Nature product that allows visitors to come to Dominica, stay at a certified property that met all the protocols, be transported on different tours by certified tour drivers. So it kind of operated in a corridor, so you could go and visit our various sites and enjoy Dominica and feel very safe.
And how does your ministry perceive current and future tourism policies for the restoration of tourism? I guess it's what are you putting in place? I think I can summarize this as.
Well, if you have seen during our review of our protocols, we have updated our travel protocols to Dominica. Right now, if a fully vaccinated traveler can come to Dominica and there is no quarantine, you come to the airport, you do an antigen test, and once you're negative, you're free to go at your various resorts and explore our beautiful nature.
And from Gay Myers, are there any tours in Dominica in a bubble?
Yes, most of our tours are in a bubble. As I said, we have the Safe in Nature product, which allows you to come to Dominica. You will not visit crowded sites. We have identified specific sites that you can visit, and you are transported there and guided by a certified tour operator. We'll take you to dive in our nature, go hiking as I said, to the second largest boarding lake in the world, or trail on the Waiti-Kubuli National Trail.
And let me just remind you, those of you who might have joined a little bit late, if you've got a question, make sure you put it into the Q&A feature in Zoom, not the chat. Let me ask the minister from St. Lucia to get ready, because we're coming on in just about 2 minutes from now. So get ready, get your microphone sorted out and your video sorted out as well. From Indiana Montez of Soul Caribe, are Brazilians banned from visiting Dominica right now? And do you have any projects for the Latin American market?
No one is banned from visiting Dominica. We have two sets of protocols. If you're unvaccinated, you have to quarantine for up to 5 days, do a PCR test on your 5th day, and once you are negative, you're free to explore Dominica. We have a lot of exciting hotel projects. If you need more information, you can contact Invest Dominica, or you can contact the Ministry of Tourism, and I can certainly send you an email with all the exciting upcoming projects in Dominica, and also available for investment options. Okay.
Well, thank you so very much, Minister. I anticipate that you had a script for your presentation. We would greatly be thankful if you can share that with us, so I can share it with the press who are there, so they can get the script just in case they need it. Yeah, just email it to me.
Thank you very much. And remember, to all, Dominica awaits you, so you deserve a vacation in the beautiful nature island.
Thank you so much, Minister. Now it's time to switch over to Dr. Ernest Hilaire, the Minister from St. Lucia. Dr. Hilaire, can you turn on your microphone and video so we can see you? Yeah, here he is. And we're zooming in on him. It's over to you, Dr. Minister.
Hi, good morning, John Rose. Today I will share 3 categories of news with our international media audience. 1, the St. Lucia tourism rebound amidst the COVID pandemic. 2, news from the air and the sea. And 3, news on the ground. I would like to start by thanking the international media outlets for continuing to support St. Lucia by covering stories about our travel options, our recovery, and our new developments. Travelers look to reliable media sources like you for up-to-date information about traveling during COVID, and we are grateful for the opportunity to provide you with this destination tourism update. And thanks to the CTO for arranging this virtual event. Tourism in St. Lucia is continuing to progress towards a full recovery from the global pandemic. As you know, tourism is more than 65% of our GDP, and we continue to focus on tourism development, growth, and offering authentic experiences curated by local St. Lucians, whilst at the same time learning to work to coexist with COVID. The good news is that we had record-breaking overnight arrivals in July and in August, our highest numbers ever. In those months, we welcomed the most overnight arrivals year on year, even exceeding our 2019 milestones. Put into perspective, more visitors means that our visitor spend is recovering as well, which is helping our local communities get back to work in tourism and to recover from the pandemic. At the same time, safety for visitors and our local population is of the utmost priority in St. Lucia, and our protocols are adjusted as needed to ensure the highest level of precaution. Our local businesses and communities have worked together to maintain a high standard of COVID safety protocols. And this June, we eased protocols for fully vaccinated travelers, like many destinations around the world, to be able to enjoy what we have to offer. We can say to you that 75% of visitors coming to St. Lucia are fully vaccinated. This adds an additional measure of safety to our visitors and local citizens, something that we take very seriously. Something we are extremely proud of, nearly all of our hotels and signature attractions are now COVID certified and open to visitors. Many of our hotels report that more than 75% of their staff are vaccinated, with others scheduled for vaccination drives in the coming weeks. From a tourism perspective, the numbers indicate that visitor to national spread is very low or negligible. And that is due to the local efforts in following protocols, not only in the tourism industry, but across the island as well. News in the air and sea. Overall, the US has been our primary inbound market, whilst other markets like the UK have had varied operating periods due to travel restrictions. Canada has dealt with closures over the last 9 months. However, we continue to ensure that brand St. Lucia is a destination of choice within the market, and we await its opening. Currently, some 90% of our visitors are from the US. This summer, new non-stop flights were introduced from the US, adding service from Dallas and tripling direct service from the New York area. American Airlines, Delta, JetBlue, and United Airlines all have non-stop flights from most major US cities. Americans have many choices for non-stop flights from the key markets of New York, New Jersey, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Dallas. We have recently welcomed flights back again from the United Kingdom. The successive travel bans have meant that airlift from the UK has fluctuated. But with the UK's government lifting of quarantine for returning fully vaccinated UK travelers, this was a game changer and meant that July and August 2021 stayovers increased significantly. We now have 3 flights a week from the UK and will increase to 6 per week in October. TUI has been very supportive and continues to operate its weekly Gatwick flights. In October, we will be thrilled to see the return of the Canadian market to St. Lucia. There will be weekly Sunday flights via Air Canada beginning October 3rd, with added flights throughout the season. Sunwing resumes service on November 6th, and WestJet returns to St. Lucia on November 7th. Our cruise industry is again rebounding. We continue to work diligently with the cruise lines to bring our cruise ship arrivals back to the level they were in 2019. Our health teams continue to work to update our protocols as dynamics and regulations change in the cruise industry. News on the ground. Despite the pandemic, St. Lucians continue to innovate and tourism developments continue, especially to provide authentic and homegrown experiences to our visitors. More than ever, we are committed to engaging our local entrepreneurs in St. Lucia so that they can deliver experiences that highlight our cultural heritage whilst bringing the economic benefits of tourism back to our locals. In July, indigenous artisan chocolate company Sept in the West Coast village of Canaries opened the doors to the public. The owner launched four chocolate experiences and a new retail shop. Visitors will enjoy bean-to-bar tours, chocolate making workshops, and many more features. Also this summer, the project Chocolat debut. It is a new immersive chocolate experience and with Hotel Chocolat. Set amidst the rainforest of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, it connects luxury chocolate with sustainable cocoa agriculture on the Rabo estate. From the canopy of the rainforest to the canopy of Robo Market, visitors can make their own chocolate, explore cocoa cuisine, and shop the retail market. Another new feature which we'll be highlighting is our village tourism project, which continues to showcase authentic experiences and highlight the entrepreneurial spirit of our St. Lucian people. Like the new Cocoa Sept, these tourism developments benefit local communities and truly enrich visitors with hyper-local experiences and cultural emotions. Work is also underway in the charming village of Ancillary, a favorite among visitors for its famous fish fry. That tourism area is receiving a complete makeover and will have a new village square, waterfront local seafood restaurants and bars, and an information booth. In late August, the Sandals St. Lucia Golf and Country Club at Cap Estate in Grosley reopened its 18-hole course, highlighting the island's remarkable natural beauty. Cabot St. Lucia continues its development, located on a 375-acre peninsula at the northern tip of St. Lucia. This development will include a golf club, residential community, and resort. Hopefully by the end of 2022, Cabot St. Lucia Golf Course, luxury condos and amenities will open, and a 40-suite hotel will debut in 2023. Tourism will continue to inspire visitors with authentic culinary and dining, signature experiences in the rainforest, and our beloved pitos, and the truly one-of-a-kind offerings that we have in St. Lucia. Our niches like diving, weddings and honeymoons, and family travel continue to thrive as our hotels and attraction partners create distinct experiences that appeal to these special niches. As we look forward towards 2022, events will take on a different look and feel as we consider safety and COVID protocols. We are actively meeting and we are discussing the feasibility of events such as Carnival, culinary events, and music festivals. As we finalize details, we will be making announcements regarding any in-person events confirmed so that our important regional travelers and international guests can plan to join us. As we continue to coexist with COVID, we in St. Lucia look forward to welcoming visitors from the US, the UK, Canada, and around the world. Our signature experiences are with the couples, families, honeymooners, and all who have made us the award-winning destination of choice in the Caribbean. From our majestic pitos to our soothing mud baths, our vibrant coral reefs to our lush rainforests, we await you. Thank you to the Caribbean Tourism Organization and all of the media present today on this webinar. So Johnson Donrose, I now return to you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. And we do have some questions in already. Gay Myers, Travel Weekly. What impact will the recent Level 4 CDC travel advisory have on travel to St. Lucia?
We'll continue to express that in St. Lucia, despite the recent fourth wave that we are experiencing, we offer a safe destination. We have in place very robust protocols at the various hotels and the various sites and attractions. Of course, we want to assure all visitors that when they do come to St. Lucia, we put their safety first. The hotels have been cooperating tremendously with us. We have a very robust monitoring system in place, and that in many ways reflects why the data does not show any significant transmission from visitor to staff or staff to visitor. So whilst we recognize that we are, like the rest of the world, experiencing increases in numbers, we expect to see in the next few weeks a return to normalcy as far as our numbers are concerned, and that the level 4, we are certain, based on the declines that we will see, will return to normal.
Okay, David Cumberbatch wants to know whether St. Lucia has a digital nomad program, and if you do, whether it will continue past COVID.
Yes, we do. And I can say to you that by next week, we will be considering some changes to our legislation and the program, and to ensure that it becomes a long-term feature of St. Lucia's tourism industry.
And from Melanie Reffers, who insists every day that I've said she's in the sunny island of Montreal. I'm not sure if she's trying to suggest that, she wants to be in the sunnier island of St. Lucia. Maybe she is. From what cities in Canada will the new flights depart, and how popular is the Live It extended stay program? Can you explain the recent change to the program? I think that follows the question that David Cumberbatch asked, that allow visitors to stay longer on the island.
But the flights will be out of Toronto. And like I indicate that next week, we will be making changes to the program. The cabinet will be considering those changes on Monday, and we'll make an announcement thereafter. So very shortly, the Tourism Authority will make an announcement on those changes.
Okay, from Glendora Lashley, she's got two questions. The first, would you say that St. Lucia is benefiting from the closure of other regional markets? I'll let you deal with this one, and then I'll pose the second one.
Well, that St. Lucia is benefiting from the closure of other markets. I think St. Lucia is an exciting offering, whether markets are open or not. We have a long history of winning awards for our outstanding beauty, our sites, our attraction, our hospitality, our personality as a destination. So I'm sure, and you could see the data from St. Lucia, over the last few years, we've been outstanding as a tourism destination. So whether other destinations are open or not, St. Lucia will always be an outstanding offering.
The other question is, on the 27th of August, your Facebook page shared a post mentioning rumored market support cost specific to one island. Given the global economic challenges and the Caribbean's issues with state revenue, how will you navigate to achieve lower expenditure to airline at a time when visitor arrival remains a bit shaky due to COVID?
I think in every instance, and I'm speaking at the general level, in every instance you have to assess value for money. There is a significant reduction in revenue, and we've learned within the St. Lucia Tourism Authority and the tourism associations in St. Lucia to stretch as much as we can every dollar that we spend. So any expenditure would have to be consonant with the value that we'll get back for it, and we will not in any way spend beyond that we can afford. But I'm sure every dollar that we spend in marketing is value for money.
Okay, and from Laura Dorich Phillips in Trinidad, so will there be a carnival in St. Lucia next year? And what about the jazz festivals and other events?
Well, I mean, I'm a carnival man myself, so it would be extremely difficult for me not to ensure that there is carnival next year. So very shortly we'll be making an announcement on carnival, and I'm excited at the possibility of having carnival next year in July. And as I stated, we are looking at the different music festivals and to see how best we can arrange them. The regional market is very important to St. Lucia, exceedingly important. And we're looking forward to organizing events that will bring back the regional travel market to us.
Indiana Montes, based in North Carolina, and she says, I don't see a lot of promotion from St. Lucia and other Caribbean islands locally. Taking in consideration the growth of cities as Raleigh and Charlotte, are you planning more direct actions in this area, consumer-oriented tourism and trade?
Well, I mean, Charlotte is quite important to us, and certainly we will be, once the conditions are right, increasing our visibility. Charlotte, and I can assure the person posing the question, is important to us.
And Cumberbatch again, going back to the digital nomad incentive, he's asking, what are some of the incentives, I guess the current incentives?
What with the revised program, or because we are revising the program, so there
Right.
will be announcements on that. It's probably a little premature for me to say too much on it.
Okay, brilliant. Let me see, there are any other questions here? Okay, one of the questions I see have come up is, and Indiana asked specific to Carolina, but what are the marketing and other initiatives you have in the key marketplaces, the US, Canada, and so on? Just before you answer, I just want to alert St. Vincent and the Grenadines to get ready. We'll be on soon. Yes, go ahead, please.
Well, I mean, we do have some of the traditional stuff we do in terms of the contact with various agencies and ensuring that we do have a presence in the various avenues that I use to promote St. Lucia. And I think the question was asked earlier about someone saying they're not seeing our presence. And even the question was asked about value for money and the amount of spend at this time. So as you can imagine, everyone has had restrictions and cutbacks in just how much they can do and what they can do. And despite that, we're seeing significant numbers of persons coming in. And I think there are various reasons why one can explain that that is happening. But, you know, we would have seen over since the start of COVID, a reduction in the various marketing campaigns that we've had in the past. But of course, as we see numbers increase, and there's certainly an increased demand for promotional activities, you will see an increase in the marketing and advertising campaigns.
And from Gay Myers, are PCR tests needed before arrival? Or there's still 5 days before arrival? That's the question.
It is still 5 days. We regularly, almost on a weekly basis, analyzing and assessing data and seeing whether or not it should remain 5 days. For now, it is still 5 days. But we constantly review what is in the best requirement for St. Lucia.
Okay, Minister, thank you so very much. And again, will you please just share with me the presentation that you had up front so I can make it available to the media, both those who are here and those who couldn't make it right now. So I thank you very, very much for the presentation. And Jen, I will get back to you soon with the question that you asked via email. Thanks, Minister. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Glenn Beach, I think it's your turn right now. Just please turn on your camera, turn on your microphone. There they are. And here he is. Thank you. St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good morning, Johnson. Thank you. Good morning to everybody. We're going to start off with the Minister speaking and giving an update on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Minister?
Yes, thank you, Glenn. Good morning, Johnson, those who are listening via social media and the Caribbean Tourism Organizations platform. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are literally at a stage of our development in terms of tourism where we are looking to expand and to improve on what we have as a product. It's one of the most diverse tourism destination in the world. And I say this very much with a level of enthusiasm because there's no other country in the region you'll go to experience white sand, brown sand, black sand beaches all together on 32 islands and keys. And of course, the most pristine sailing waters and perfect for snorkeling and diving. And this is what makes St. Vincent a unique product, setting us apart from every other region, island within the region. We have started the season with, on the downside, we've had some challenges, partly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as with every other tourism destination within the region. But notwithstanding that, we've been able to hold things together. But then suddenly we had an explosive eruption of the Lassa Freight volcano. This, of course, contributed to even further declines in arrivals and capacity in terms of our hotels, and it has affected us tremendously in terms of our tourism numbers. What we're doing right now is at the stage of rebuilding and building capacity within the industry. We've hosted a number of stakeholder meetings and discussions with industry players within the region and also here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we are right now at the point where we will see an inaugural flight of Virgin Atlantic to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in October. We will see the return of American Airlines is also flying. We'll see the return of Caribbean Airlines to our destination from New York, as well as Air Canada out of Toronto to Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have roughly estimated some 224 calls to St. Vincent and the Grenadines for this cruise season. We're very optimistic that this will take place because we have designed what we consider to be safe COVID-19 cruise protocols. Similar to a number of other islands, we've managed to have safe zones in which persons can disembark from these ships and visit our lovely destinations across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, using, of course, taxi operators and guides and persons who are all fully vaccinated within what we consider to be a safe bubble. So we're hoping for the best this season, and we see the unpredictability of the COVID-19 pandemic, what this caused for a region, the most tourism-dependent region in the world. Of course, we have been adversely affected, but we're done, but certainly not out. Separate from travel to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're expected to see the construction very soon of a beaches resort here on mainland St. Vincent. It will be the first beaches resort within the Eastern Caribbean bloc of islands. And we are expected to see a number of openings of smaller hotels like La View Hotel, a very lovely boutique hotel, a capacity of some 20 plus rooms. It's expected to be officially opened at the end of this year. We are seeing the construction of a Royal Mill Hotel, and very soon we will see the construction of a Marriott resort here on mainland St. Vincent, as well as the construction of a Holiday Inn Express. All of these hotels combined with other small guest houses and the construction of more boutique type accommodation will put us equally to a number of other islands. We've had the challenges of accommodation. Even though we've successfully been able to have air access, we now have to focus on accommodation and building our capacity here on island, and we'll see some 1,200 plus rooms added by another 24 months. So it's a very exciting period, and I'm hoping that persons who are listening can come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, one of the most beautiful Caribbean destinations. And we have to obviously look at how we can expand our product regionally and as well as internationally. And that's what we're doing here, doing tremendous work at that. Over to you, Glenn.
Thank you very much, Minister. From the marketing side, we have quite a bit going on here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Starting on September 21st, we will be conducting some virtual road shows. Usually we do road shows all over, but as everybody knows, the pandemic has slowed down the traveling aspect. So we've taken it to a different level. We're going to be doing virtual road shows. I know quite a few people are fed up of the virtual aspect of everything, but unfortunately, this is what we have to do at this time. So on September 21st, we'll be doing our first one in the United Kingdom. On October 6th, we'll have one in Canada. And on November 3rd, we will be conducting one in the United States. We continue to have our training for tour operators and tour guides in the US and Canada for them to become experts on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Later on this month, we will also be launching a new website, discoversvg.com. Right now, that's under construction. That will be one that should be with us for approximately a year or 2 years. After that, we'll be constructing another new one that's taking place now in conjunction with the World with the World Bank. Minister spoke about the flights coming in from Virgin Atlantic. That will start on October 13th, and we'll be having 2 flights weekly on Wednesdays and Sundays. Caribbean Airlines will start from JFK on October 20th, right before our independence celebration. So we're very happy about that. Air Canada Rouge will begin their flights once again on November 1st. And American Airlines, who is already flying in here weekly on Saturdays, by the middle of October, will start their 2nd flight and will be on Wednesdays and Saturdays weekly. We're very happy to have received the award also from Travel and Leisure in terms of the award for as #1 island destination, and we thank them very much for that, especially that it came from their readers. So we're very happy about that. Minister has said that we have all gone through a rough time with the pandemic. St. Vincent and the Grenadines in particular has had a rough time because of the eruption of La Soufrière, but we're a strong country, and we'll bounce back better than ever. We are open for business. Our 4 main niche markets are still yachting, which is our largest, diving, romance, weddings, honeymoons, divorce, if you want to come here and get divorced, and adventure. Now, our trails did take a bit of a hit from the eruption of La Soufrière. I can say that a lot of them are open once again. 1 or 2 of them still have some work to do after the eruption of La Soufrière. We will be attending the DEMA Dive Show in Las Vegas this year. I think the sooner we get back to normal, the better it is for us. So we will be attending, and we will be bringing along some of our stakeholders in terms of the diving here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We also want to make sure that we let people know our protocols, which are on Discover SVG on the Facebook page, and they will be on the new website also, in terms of coming in with a PCR test no older than 72 hours. Once you're vaccinated, the quarantine is for 48 hours. Possibly you can get out of that sooner once the PCR test done here comes back sooner. If you are not vaccinated, it is 14 days, sorry. And so that takes place then. But we are continuing to do a lot of work to get the name of St. Vincent and the Grenadines back out there and to let people know that we are open for business. We continue to encourage people to be safe and follow our protocols as we see fit. The Ministry of Health has worked hard to put these in place, and they have done a tremendous job so far. Minister spoke about all the investments that's taken place, and that we have to thank the AIA for that, now that we have direct flights into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we continue to work with other airlines to improve access to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So on that note, Johnson, we can open up for questions if possible.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I go to the questions, please, if you've got a question, put it in the Q&A feature here on Zoom. Don't do the hand raise thing because we're missing it. So you want the question dealt with, please put it in the Q&A, not in chat, and certainly don't do the hand raising. Gay Myers, I'm sure, Glenn, if not the minister, you must be familiar with the name Gay Myers. Who is? And how many hotels are in the hotel bubble where visitors must stay?
In the hotel,
is there a hotel in the bubble? In the bubble?
Yeah, we have a list, and I should have said this in my remarks. One of the things that we're very proud of is the standards that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for hotels, tour operators, tour guides, taxi drivers. What we've created in SVG is what we call a safe zone. And so the safe zone involves taxi drivers that are fully vaccinated, hotels where staff is 100% vaccinated. And so we put a lot of these properties on the quarantine list. So when you come, you must spend 48 hours, if you're vaccinated, within one of these quarantine lists. I don't have the numbers. We can always send that to you. They're on our pages and everything else in terms of that. But quite a few throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines are on that quarantine list.
From Indiana, somewhere in the Carolina mountains, where not a lot of people know about your destination, she says. Traditionally, our small Caribbean islands are more focused on the northeast coast. Now, Raleigh and Charlotte are gaining more importance because of American Airlines flights to the Caribbean. Are you planning to make more there, to take more action there? Programs in North Carolina? Also, do you have any plans for Latin America? Indiana couldn't have asked the question without including Latin America, of course. So it's a two-part question. What are plans for the Carolinas and what are your plans for Latin America?
North Carolina, it's a good question because funny enough, we have been speaking to American Airlines about North Carolina and the possibility of having that direct flight from North Carolina into St. Vincent. So we know it's one of AA's hubs. It's a pity in terms of this pandemic, what took place last year, because it just halted a lot of progress that we had made. You know, last year was supposed to be a record-breaking year for St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of arrivals in every which way. So North Carolina is definitely a place that we continue to speak to American Airlines about. I actually meet with American Airlines in November, face-to-face. As I said, people are getting tired of the virtual aspect. And so we will continue to speak to them about that. You know, the issue with St. Vincent and the Grenadines previously has always been access to the destination. With the completion of the Argyle International Airport, some of that has been solved. And as the minister was saying, and because of that, we're now seeing the investments go up in terms of the hotels coming in, more villas taking place. As for Latin America is funny. I do speak to COPA in terms of seeing if they can come out of Panama to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I will say this. A few years ago when Brazil was having a major economic boost, and Johnson, you will remember this, there was a lot of talk at CTO meetings about going into Latin America and especially Brazil. I'm very careful about it because it's easy to get sidetracked. You know, we did a lot of work with one of the ski resorts out of the United States a few years ago, and I was very shocked to hear that their number one, where their clientele came from, wasn't Canada, known for its skiing, wasn't inside the United States, wasn't Europe. It was out of Brazil, a different experience, something different. So we have to be careful about where we go. We keep our minds open in terms of everywhere, but we also need to cement our strength in the markets that we're in now. But anything is open for the future. I don't know if Minister wants to.
And importantly, with the Argyle International Airport, with direct access to different source markets, what we've been able to do within the last 2 or 3 years of operation is to expand direct flights to all of our major source markets. We're talking London, Miami, Toronto, New York, any of the major destinations we're talking about where tourism is. We're looking for our guests to come into St. Vincent. We literally can get you from those destinations to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So of course the opportunity is now there for us to expand, not only within Latin America, but also interregionally. We have 40 million people within the region. We have to see how best we can boost our regional travel, interregional travel, so we can get more people moving around the islands, not just St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but all the islands. We have to look at the Caribbean as a multi-regional island destination where everyone can have that sort of participation and impact. Of course, and you're looking at Eastern Europe and the Middle East and South Asia. All of these destinations are not beyond our reach, and we have to keep obviously doors open to welcome new visitors and guests from these destinations.
Okay, so you sort of anticipated Laura Dorich Phillips's question about marketing SVG in the Caribbean, and the second part of the question was whether you've got any plans for Vaccination next year.
Let me just deal with the first part in terms of Minister will deal with the Vaccination part. In terms of marketing the Caribbean, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was actually the first country in the Caribbean to do serious marketing and advertising campaigns in other Caribbean countries. It is something that is still very important to us. Minister spoke about how important regional travel is to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a matter of fact, if you look at our figures over the years, when you combine Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados, their figures into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, when you add those two countries together, they're up there along with England and the United States. So interregional travel is very important. We've held it close to our hearts for a long time, and we'll continue to do that no matter what.
So Vincimas, and really we're anticipating hosting a Vincimas 2022, of course, but obviously with COVID-19, the pandemic, and the way in which the fluidity of how things can change suddenly and overnight, we're guided by the Ministry of Health and the Chief Medical Officer, who has been really working closely with us within the tourism industry, as well as with the Carnival Development Corporation, to monitor how we move forward in terms of activities. So it's really something that we're closely looking at. We're optimistic about it, but of course we're guided by the protocols as it relates to COVID-19 and the challenges, of course, which we will face. COVID-19 is going to be around with us for a while, and we have to find creative ways of making tourism work, making a number of our activities surrounding culture and festivals work. But it's within the confines of our protocols, and we're guided by that very strict in terms of how we apply those protocols.
Okay. From Brand Major, what's the level of vaccination of residents, and what's it among tourism workers?
Well, we have started a drive here in St. Vincent, particularly within the sector, to have as much of the stakeholders within the industry vaccinated. So, for instance, we have started to see the operation of cruise to St. Vincent. Just about another 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had the return of Seaborn, a smaller vessel, but in a few weeks we'll see some of the larger vessels coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We've been able to do that because the persons who are coming into contact with the visiting guests are persons who are fully vaccinated. So we have been working closely with a number of stakeholders within the sector to ensure that they are fully immunized. Nationally, we've had some challenges, of course, with all of the regions. We've seen a number of the uptick in terms of the vaccination has been pretty slow, but we have been working closely with the Ministry of Health. They have been doing tremendous work in terms of encouraging the vaccination drive, and we're I think somewhere by now over 16,000.
No, our first dose we're at about 19,000.
19,000.
No, sorry, second dose is 19,000. And first dose is something like 31,000 approximately.
So we're
a population of 110,000.
So we're getting there in terms of our numbers, and we're looking at the adult population, which is obviously less than the 110,000 per person. So we're getting there in terms of our numbers.
Okay, Grenada, we just wanted to make sure that you're ready. You can get your microphone, at least your camera on and stuff, so we can come over to you as soon as we're through here. There's a question from David Cumberbatch, and it says, reaching out to existing markets may be simply as letting them know that SVG is open again, but has it been difficult reaching out to new markets, introducing your product offerings?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, anybody who's in marketing and advertising would tell you, I mean, a lot of people say, well, why don't you go into Germany? Why don't you go into France? It's difficult because to go into any new market, you must have at least a 3-year plan, and you have to be in there with significant resources to maintain that for at least 3 years. There are markets that we really want to get into, especially with yachting being our #1 niche market. The French, the Italian markets are 2 markets that are very important to us that we're looking at possibly. But the resources need to be there for us to do this. I think this pandemic has put a bit of a hold on everybody's plans in terms of what they want to do. As I said earlier, St. Vincent and the Grenadines last year was supposed to be a record-breaking year for us in terms of not only visitors, but visitor expenditure from what we could have seen. So it is difficult, I think, for a lot of countries, and this is just my opinion. Next year is even going to be have even more difficulties within it in terms of resources. If the pandemic continues to play out the way it's going right now with these spikes, But as the minister said already, the situation is very fluid. So we look at it, we continue to look at France, Italy, Germany, and look at the investments that come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But new markets are always difficult if you don't have services you need to do.
Okay. That was my alert to tell me that time's up. Anyway, thank you. Absolutely spot on. Thank you so much, ministers. Thank you so much, Glenn Beach, the minister and CEO in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and appreciate it. And now we'll move over to Grenada. Here's Sharice Hamid, GTA. Over to you now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to sunny Grenada. I hope that I am able to really make you feel like you're here with us, okay? So I promise you, Mr. John Rose, I'm gonna be short. I feel like Grenada speaks for itself a lot of the time. All right, so Grenada has been on the forefront of tourism developments with new airlift, accommodations, experiences, restaurants, and more. And the warm and friendly Grenadian people invite travelers to experience pure Grenada and the uniqueness of the Spice Isle of the Caribbean. As travelers re-engage their passion to travel, the tri-island destination of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique have updated their COVID-19 health and safety protocols effective July 31st to encourage international travelers to visit again. All persons entering Grenada, either by air or sea, must be fully vaccinated with the WHO-approved vaccination and present a negative PCR test result on arrival. Then it needs to be taken within 3 days of arrival. Exemptions to fully vaccinated status include citizens, residents, persons under 13, diplomats, and aircrew on layover. A Pure Safe Travel Authorization certificate is needed by each traveler, including children arriving in Grenada. Fully vaccinated travelers are only required to quarantine until clearance is received from health officials within 48 hours, sometimes less, pending a negative PCR result on entry. For more information, please feel free to visit our Pure Grenada website. It is constantly updated as our travel protocols are updated to make ease of traveling into the island better for everyone. The health and safety of Grenada's citizens and its visitors has been priority since the outset of this pandemic, and our strict measurements through our Pure Safe Travel initiative have allowed Grenada to contain the spread of COVID-19. We are thrilled to welcome back travelers and showcase the exciting new tourism developments that will continue to distinguish our island as a gem of the Caribbean. Once our guests arrive, they will find that the destination's culture, cuisine, and idyllic landscapes are the definition of paradise. Grenada's spectacular natural topography is complemented by a charming selection of luxury boutique hotels and villas, cuisine infused with exotic local spice, 40 white sand beaches, including the world's famous Grand Dance Beach, and 15 breathtaking waterfalls. Additional treats include 5 chocolate factories, 3 rum distilleries, and more than 30 unforgettable dive sites, including the largest shipwreck in the Caribbean, the Bianca Sea, and the world's first underwater sculpture park. Most recently, the Spice Isle of the Caribbean, famed for its aromatic spices and chocolate, was officially designated the culinary capital by the World Food and Travel Association, formed to spotlight culinary cultures around the world. Our newest campaign is Grenada's Grenada Rocks campaign. The Grenada Rocks campaign puts out the storytelling of the tri-island destination's authenticity and wonders in the hands of the experts, our beloved Grenadians. The campaign introduces a diverse cast of Grenadians on the island and in the diaspora who speak to how Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique rock as a multifaceted nation with diverse experiences. We are only one of very few destinations where you can fly into one island and play at 3. Already released in phase 1 of the campaign are videos featuring recording artist Bon, the international fashion designer with Grenadian roots, Fee Noel, who, by the by, was lucky to dress 2 persons at last night's Met Gala. We were very proud. I'm obsessed with her. Noel has also designed, her designs have also been worn by the former US First Lady, Michelle Obama, and by Beyonce. Though not a person, the story of Grenada's colorful national dish, oil down, and its deep cultural significances have also been captured via the video. Grenada Tourism Authority will release more videos in the coming weeks and encourage everyone to share the campaign videos as well as their personal Grenada stories using the hashtag Grenada Rocks as they join the exciting storytelling movement. For more information, please be sure to visit our Pure Grenada website. Our activities, we have had a burst of activities since 2019. So Pure Grenada, the Spice of the Caribbean, provides visitors with limitless opportunities to explore, relax, and unwind. Diverse offerings include culinary tours and experiences, soft adventure excursions like hiking and bird watching, a visit to our 5 chocolate factories, dune buggy rides, and sailing experiences, all targeting a varied audience, including solo travelers, couples, and families. Foremost on our list of activities is our chocolate experiences. Visitors to the islands can book chocolate making experiences, cocoa plantation and cocoa factory tours, or even make chocolate face masks. Our cocoa farmers and producers are dedicated to their craft and have found so many ways to include those who are interested in their journey of love with our cocoa. Our new experiences, to list them, the newest ones include our Clear Kayaking, a unique ecotourism product that allows customers to see the destination's unspoiled water landscape using fully transparent kayaks. We have Spice Isle Exploration, a tour and hospitality company that offers visitors the opportunity to pedal boats and kayaks around the island's stunning coastline. We have culinary safaris, which are very important to us, and those are provided by Flavors of Grenada, a culinary adventure hosted by Chef Belinda Bishop, that will show participants how to prepare an authentic Grenadian meal utilizing the fruits and vegetables harvested from the day's tour. We also have field to bottle rum tours because, as you probably know, Grenadians are very serious about our rum. The tours offered by Royalty Taxi Tours where participants can take an immersive experience from the sugarcane fields and the intricate rum distilling process, filling and labeling the personalized bottles of rum from River and Twine, the oldest operating distillery in the Caribbean. We also have Lester Organics, purchased by Lawrence and Gladys Ramdani in 1950. The Lester estate has been exporting organic nutmeg and cocoa for decades. Today, the estate is succeeded by the children and grandchildren who are honoring the family's heritage by seeking to develop products from cocoa and nutmeg along with the eco stays, wellness escapes, and workshops. Aquanauts. Aquanauts is one of our stalwarts on the island. They are a dive shop that spearheads several initiatives on the island, including developing our reefs and building back up our reefs. We have the Pirates Ocean Bar, the Paradise Beach Club located in Caracou. We've got Friday's Bar, Wild Orchid Restaurants, the newest one at Annadale Waterfall, just to name a few. So traveling to Grenada, it's pretty easy these days. There are nonstop direct flights from flying into Morris Bishop International Airport from North America on American Airlines, JetBlue, and Air Canada. JetBlue Airways offers daily service from JFK on American Airlines. American Airlines offers service twice a week and from Miami and once a week from Charlotte. Our Air Canada is scheduled to resume flights later on this year. Accommodation, the destination offers a unique selection of luxury and boutique resorts, charming and affordable hotels, as well as luxury villa rentals, great for extended stays, families, and groups. Our hotel openings this year include the Point at Petit Calavini, which opened in last year, in 2020. It's a luxury boutique private residential club featuring 3 villas, 12 condominiums, 2 large pools, gym and spa located on its very own little corner of paradise. The property's private lush gardens slope gently downwards to the pristine white beaches and deep water anchorages at the marine facilities set on the beautiful turquoise waters of Benji Bay. We also have the villas at Mount Hartman that opened in 2020 as well. It's set on the privately owned peninsula with 7 acres of beachfront tropical gardens and a one-of-a-kind experience. We have the Royalton Grenada Resort and Spa that will be opening in October of 2021. The Royalton Resort is the newest of the Blue Diamond resorts in Grenada with 269 rooms located on 2 white sand beaches in Tamarin Bay. We have Spice Island Beach Resort. We're very excited about them reopening in October as well of this year. It's the luxury AAA 5 Diamond all-inclusive resort located on Grand Nance Beach, offering beachfront gourmet dining, romantic getaways, luxury spa, and more. Upcoming openings for 2022, we have 6 centers at Las Vegas, Kimpton, Kawana Bay, and Lavera Nature Center. Now, in addition to these exciting openings that we have upcoming, we have I see that there are lots of questions about the remote work program. We also are launching a remote work program in October of 2021 for Grenada. We know that quite a few of you have already launched since last year or earlier this year, but we wanted to make sure that our program was perfect for our destination. Our program has quite a few incentives. We have incentives for people to move down to Grenada with their families. It is inexpensive. There is no chance of taxing your income. Your children, you'll be given a concierge service through the Grenada Tourism Authority. Once your application for remote work is approved, you will be assigned a concierge agent who will help you with your move to Grenada and give you all of the information that you need about it. So once you get here, you just literally just move into your apartment or your villa or your hotel accommodation. Your children can go right into schools. They'll make the process easy for you. So our remote work program is also designed so that you can easily extend after the initial 12-month period. And I know that quite a few of you are asking about Carnival. We are hoping, hoping that we get to experience the Grenada Carnival in next year in 2022, because our job is unlike any other. Sorry, Trinidad, we are the best. You know. We also have quite a few, in addition to our openings, we have our volunteerism projects that we are launching also in October that we're really excited about. We're gonna, with our digital nomads coming in, we want to be able to give our visitors to Grenada more than sun and sand and sea. We want them to be able to experience Grenada through the eyes of Grenadians. We want them to be able to come into our island and share their knowledge with us. We want them to share their time with us. We want them to be fully immersed in our communities. We want them to meet our people so that tourism can be seen truly through the eyes of every sector on the island.
Sherry, so you have just about 7 minutes and we've got a number of questions.
I'm good now, I'm good. I think I've covered everything. So
okay, so we are brilliant.
Questions, so
okay, brilliant. Okay, firstly, from Anne Rupenstein in Canada, who wants you to clarify whether, in terms of the vaccination, whether you accept people with mixed doses or whether they've got to be just one.
No, you can mix the doses. That's totally fine. We have quite a few travelers who started out with Moderna and ended up with Pfizer and so forth. So it's fine once it's WHO approved.
Okay. And from Gay Myers, has the recent level 4 CDC travel advisory had any impact on bookings to Grenada?
Not as yet. Not as yet. And because the island has such strict protocols for coming in, for instance, everybody must be fully vaccinated. We have the 48-hour medical hold. You know, we are very, very strict about making sure that our travelers are safe and our locals, our citizens are safe. So we have inspired quite a bit of traveler confidence. So we haven't seen any major deficits in our bookings.
I actually neglected to say that Sherry's David Hamid is the new sales and marketing manager at the Grenada Tourism Authority. You got
Yes, I'm
picked it
very
up
new
not very long ago. She's really very new. This is her first face-to-face with the media. So we've got to welcome her. We've got a few questions here from Alex Holder. I think the third one about airlift you've dealt with, especially the Canadian market. But he wants to know whether there's mandatory vaccination policy for hotel workers in Grenada.
We prefer that all of the forward-facing team members, all team members within the tourism industry are fully vaccinated so that they can protect themselves and our guests. It isn't mandatory per se, but it is a preference for employees.
And can you speak to the opening of new properties like the Royalton, which announced its opening in early October?
Yes, they will be opening on October 1st. That is still on the cards. They're very excited about opening up. We also are very excited to welcome back Spice Island Beach Resorts. It's been long awaited. So those two are the two openings coming up in October.
Okay, so that deals with the question that Melanie Reffers had about Spice Island Resort, whether you could confirm its opening. Laura Dorich Phillips says, Grenada is currently experiencing a COVID spike. What's the destination doing to reassure visitors about a safe visit?
Well, as I said before, we have some of the safest entry protocols in the region. We are fully aware that we are a very small island. Our medical services, though they are top-notch for us, we don't want to burden it. We don't want to get to the point where people are having to be turned away from hospitals. We don't want to get to the point where it's out of control. And so we're going to keep our protocols in place for the foreseeable future. And as I said, that has really instilled traveler confidence. So we don't plan on making any major changes anytime soon.
We've got just about 3 minutes. And Jim Byers, can you tell me the start date for the Air Canada flight? And assuming is it from Toronto, correct?
Yes, Air Canada is going to be coming in twice weekly from Toronto from October 31st.
Okay. And Matt Turner in the US, what sort of volunteerism activities might be available?
We have a plethora of activities. Right now, we are focusing on tourism that gets people out into the communities. So we can teach children around the island how to swim, because although we are a small island and we have quite a few water sources, a lot of our population does not know how to properly swim. So we have a lot of focus on that. We also have tree planting activities because we're very into making sure that Grenada stays green and eco-friendly. So we have a lot of eco volunteerism activities. We also have activities that go into smaller communities and try to give people a hands up by teaching them how to be more self-reliant. They're teaching them trade. They are teaching them life skills. We have opportunities to go in and plant trees. We have opportunities to go lionfish hunting for those adventurers amongst us, because our lionfish, we do not want them to ravage our reefs. We have activities that go diving and clean up our oceans and our reefs. So we have an activity for everybody. We also have medical activities where you can come down and volunteer at our health centers. So that one we're looking for doctors for. So there really is a broad list.
From Melanie Reffers, is the market in St. George's open to tourists at this time for, according to her, strolling, tasting, shopping?
So the markets will be open again for strolling, very soon. We're hoping within the next week. We do believe within the next week it'll be open for strolling. The vendors come out for only a few hours a day at the moment, but they will be back by next week.
I do hope we can get through all the questions. If
I
not,
know! I'm going to keep them short.
I'd hope you can stay on and then just deal with the others in the meantime. But, so I'll combine this one from Ursula Barzi in the UK and Andrea Perez-Sobers in Trinidad. Andrea is, since the COVID spike, has there been a decrease in tourist arrivals? And Ursula is asking, with the spike, can visitors move around the island freely, or will they just have to stay in the hotel and resorts? So
We have not yet seen a decrease in arrivals. We do have tourists able to move around the island, not as freely as they could a few weeks ago, but we do have lists of companies that can take you out. So taxi operators who can take you out, they're all fully vaccinated. So there are avenues to get you out there, just not as freely as you could before.
Okay, let's ask Anguilla to set up, turn on your microphone and camera, because we'll be on in a few seconds. We'll take this question from Glendora Lashley about the overall room stock in Grenada at this time, and what kind of room offering are you focusing on in the future? There are a couple other questions. This is a yes or no one from Gay Myers. Are the market vendors vaccinated?
Over 50% of them are, and over 90% of our tourist operators, front-facing tourist operators are.
Okay, and quickly room stock, and you'd have to answer Indiana's offline. Just go into the chat, you can see the question, you'll be able to answer it.
Our room stock is very quickly growing. As you see, we have a lot of openings coming up in 2022, and we have more openings coming up this month. We are focusing on eco resorts as well as luxury resorts and mid-level resorts, all the same.
Okay, thank you so much. I know lots of questions. Indiana, Cherise will go into the system and just respond to your question right there. But Alison Ross is set for Anguilla. Alison, it's over to you.
Okay, can I share my screen? I just do share screen. And let's do full screen. Okay, we all see it? Johnson, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. So good morning, everyone. And thank you so much to CTO for providing us with this opportunity to to update you all on Anguilla. I'm actually here with my colleague, Lorraine Charles-St-Jules, who will also help with fielding questions. And, in terms of what's new or news from Anguilla, we've welcomed over 15,000 visitors to the island so far this year. And bearing in mind that we closed for a month between April 25th and May 22nd, when we had a spike that we quickly brought under control. So far, July has been our best month in terms of visitor arrivals after March. 90% of our visitors are coming from the US, probably about 3% from the UK. But the good news is that these numbers all represent stay over arrivals because, with our new protocols, which we'll get into in more detail a little later on, they don't really allow for day trippers at this point. One thing that happened during the pandemic is a lot of our stakeholders use the time to renovate and innovate and refresh our product. So with the result that this winter, we're going to have like a completely brand new refurbished sparkling product. And with the global brands that we have on island, they're giving us access to a new global clientele. Anguilla is now a member of the Virtuoso exclusive portfolio of luxury travel partners. We're also a traveler-made preferred destination, and these partnerships are also opening up new sales and marketing opportunities for the island. And finally, we're excited because Anguilla and Long Bay Villas were featured in the hit Netflix series, The World's Most Amazing Vacation Rentals. It dropped yesterday, September 14th, so you can all binge watch on the weekend. In terms of access, as one of our colleagues earlier said, this is the lifeline of any destination. Our big news is that for the first time in the island's history, we're going to have scheduled nonstop service from the mainland. American Airlines starts service from Miami International into Anguilla on December 11th, 2021. The flight will operate year-round, twice weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. There will be business and first-class cabins available on this flight. And the Miami Gateway opens up, a host of new markets for Anguilla with connectivity, especially from the west coast of the US, but also from Canada, UK, Europe, and South America. Most flights also, airlines go into St. Martin, so it remains a major gateway for us. Most carriers from the US and Canada and Europe, they fly into St. Martin. We have good news from Canada because Air Canada Vacations is including Anguilla in their winter program. They've contracted with 5 properties on island. And, you probably all already heard this from St. Martin yesterday, but, Air Canada starts service into St. Martin December 18th. And December 23rd from Toronto. Sunwing, starts at the end of the month from Toronto. WestJet early November, and Transat from Montreal and Toronto just before Christmas. Puerto Rico is also still a gateway for us. Tradewind Aviation and Silver Airways has service nonstop from San Juan. A brand new service we have is from St. Thomas in the US Virgin Islands. Cape Air starts service on November 20th. It's a year-round service, and it will be 2 flights a day, scheduled service, 2 flights a day from St. Thomas directly into Anguilla. From St. Martin, I think I might have mentioned earlier, there are 2 options. There's the short 7-minute flight on Anguilla Air Services or Trans Anguilla Air Sunshine, or from the Dutch side, there are several private ferry companies that operate from the Anguilla St. Martin terminal, which is located just a 2-minute ride from the airport. And the passengers are taken directly into Anguilla's Blowing Point Ferry Terminal. I should note that the public ferry service from Marigot on the French side is currently suspended until further notice. So moving on to accommodations, as you know, we have some of the most exquisite accommodations, a bunch of luxury brands. We also have a huge variety of villas, but we also have, a collection of more affordable properties. But by far the property that's generating the most buzz this winter is the Aurora Anguilla Resort and Golf Club. This is formerly the Cuisinart Golf Club. It was purchased by Olympus Ventures and is reopening this November with 178 suites, 7 restaurants and bars. It has a number of unique amenities and services. Chief among them is this fleet of private jets, which will offer charter service for their guests with direct airlift from key US markets. It's also going to be a culinary destination. Their executive chef, Adam Bissell, he's a Michelin-starred chef. He led the kitchens at both the Modern and 11 Madison Park here in New York. And the signature element of their culinary offerings is going to be directly from the reestablished hydroponic farm, which has been expanded to include an orchard. The Aurora International Golf Club, they've again totally renovated and reestablished the golf course. The aim is to make it among the top 100 courses in the world, along with the clubhouse. The spa is now the Aurora Sarana Spa. It's a sanctuary of wellness and revitalization. So that's another amazing feature of this property that's really an eagerly anticipated development for the island. I should note also that they're committed to supporting the island and the community. In fact, they plan to open a community clinic that will support the health and well-being needs of the residents on the island. Long Bay Villas that I mentioned earlier, they're also under new ownership and management, and they've been renovated inside and out. It's long been a celebrity hangout, also a family favorite. The villas each has its own set of upscale amenities. They can be rented individually or in any combination. And as I mentioned, they're featured in season 2. Check out episode 7 on the waterfront, where Long Bay Villas is profiled as a luxury property. And the season 1 properties have done exceptionally well, and we're sure that they will do the same for Anguilla. We also have 4 affordable accommodations, and one we wanted to highlight is a new one, the Arawak Beach Club. It was recently acquired by the husband and wife team, Judd and Mindy Burden. They're owners of Anguilla Water Sports. They've lived in Anguilla for over 20 years, but they have totally renovated the oceanfront resort, and they have reopened it as a haven for people who want either a tranquil or an adventure-packed vacation. So let's talk a little about activities and events on island, because although we're known for our incredible beaches, there really is a lot to do, in Anguilla. Golf, as I mentioned, is going to be a really big deal for the island. The Aurora Anguilla is actually also introducing a 9-hole signature golf course, also designed by Greg Norman. That will be for people who are, new to the sport or who want to just sneak in a quick round of golf. That's another addition to the golf course. Some of the activities that you may not know are in Anguilla. There are ATV rides. Incredibly popular are moke rentals. It's an excellent way to explore the island. The Tradition Sail is back. It's one of only 2 West Indian sloops operating in the Caribbean. And we also have glamping. I don't know if you can see it because of depending on how you have your windows. But glamping or luxury camping experience can be set up on Sandy Island or in any one of Anguilla's amazing beaches. We're known as a small island with a big appetite, and therefore it's probably no surprise that with over 100 restaurants and everything from 5-star dining to beach restaurants and food trucks, our major new signature event for 2022 is a culinary event. The Anguilla Culinary Experience, it's going to be known as ACE, will take place in May 2022. It's a new Epicurean festival celebrating, life with friends and good food. It's a private sector initiative that is supported by the tourist board. And among the different events and activities planned are, guest chef collaborations, VIP dinners, rum tasting, cooking demonstrations, beach barbecues, a rosé party, and a moke rum crawl. And, it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're hoping that it will become an annual event. With regard to our traditional calendar of events, most of them have been taking place virtually over the past year, but we're really hoping that come 2022, we'll be back to celebrating them all in person. Moonsplash with our legendary Banky Banks takes place in March. Festival del Mar, which is our annual celebration of all things from the sea, takes place over the Easter weekend. And the Anguilla Literary Festival, in fact, our guest writer or featured guest writer in 2019 was Dame Alice Walker, is scheduled for May. Also happening in May is Anguilla Day. It's our national day, a day of pomp and pageantry. The Round the Island boat race takes place at that time. And then the Anguilla Summer Festival, which is the last week in July, first week in August, is our Carnival. And again, we beg to differ. We think that we do have the best beach parties, soca competitions, street parades, the poker run, and of course, boat racing, because no celebration in Anguilla is complete without boat racing. And here the signature event is the Champion of Champions season ender event.
You just have about 8 minutes left, yeah, Alison?
Okay. All right, I'm coming to the protocols, because we launched our reopening campaign, Lose a Crowd, Find Yourself, in July. And that brings us to the protocols, which we changed and reinstituted on the 1st of July. So currently, all visitors to Anguilla must be fully vaccinated. They must apply for entry permission at our portal, ivisanguilla.com. They are tested on arrival. They have to submit a negative PCR test taken 3 to 5 days before arrival. Everyone is tested on arrival, and everyone is required to remain in place until they get the results from that arrival test, which are usually delivered within 12 to 24 hours. Once it tests negative, you're free to explore the island if you are staying at a resort or a villa. If the guest is staying at privately, like with a family or at a non-licensed property, there is a 4-day quarantine. Everyone is tested on day 4. Our good news is that Anguilla is still on the UK green list. On September 7th, the CDC did raise our level to a 3, up from level 1, along with 10 other destinations. But we believe that we will regain our level 1 classification when the advisories are reviewed, because there are currently just 17 active cases on the island. Also, 60% of Anguillians are fully vaccinated. Over 9,000 adults have received both doses of the AstraZeneca, and we're in fact taking registration for kids 12 to 17. So, we also have a video that, we can put in the chat, and you can look at it, at your leisure if we're running out of time and you have questions for me. Johnson, the video is about 1.5 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's a bit long.
Or a minute, I think, 1 minute and 40 or so.
Yeah, that's a bit long.
Okay. All right. Well, I put a link to it in the chat.
Yeah,
I put a link to the video in the chat, so everyone can look at it there. But I'm happy to take questions. We're running out of time. Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so I just remind everyone, please put your questions in the Q&A feature, so we can deal with them. There were a couple questions from the previous, from Grenada, that have been answered. We couldn't get to them all. So Indiana and Ursula, the questions have been answered in this, so you can look for the responses. Now, from Gay Myers, can visitors explore on their own, or are they in bubble tours?
No, if they are, once they test out and they're staying at a resort or a villa, they can explore on their own. They can, rent a car and drive around the island and so on. Once their arrival test is clear, and then their day 4 test, of course, if that is clear, then they can continue to explore the island. If you do test positive, then you are required to go into quarantine. But in Anguilla, all the properties that are open and certified, one of the requirements is that they have set aside rooms for guests who test positive and who need to isolate. So you would be quarantining at your resort, not at a government facility.
And follow up from Gay, what are the costs for on-island tests?
As of October the 1st, they will be introducing a $200 fee for the on-island test that will cover the test on arrival and the test on day 4. That comes into effect on October 1st.
And David Cumberbatch says, congratulations on your new non-stop flight. How do you target the visitors whose original destination is St. Martin and are totally unaware that Anguilla is just a ferry ride from Marigot?
Yeah, well, we will be working on getting some visibility for Anguilla in St. Martin. I mean, one of the issues, of course, is with the protocols right now, it's hard to come to Anguilla on a day trip because of, the quarantine, issues. Especially when you come back to St. Martin, I mean, you have the testing regimens that you have to really plot your days very carefully to get, your test to go to Anguilla and your test to come back to St. Martin. So, depending on how the protocols work and how those are arranged, we're not really targeting day trippers, but we are pushing through our travel advisors like twin destinations, so you could maybe spend a week in St. Martin and then come to Anguilla for a week.
And where must masks be worn? That's from Melanie Reffers. If yes, and is Sicily or is Kiliki open to tourists at this time?
Yes, Siliki has reopened. They have a brand new menu. Great spot to explore. In terms of masks, if you are indoors in an area where social distancing is not possible, you have to wear masks. And again, we ask our visitors just to respect the requirements of the various establishments that they go to. Because if you're outside on the beach, you don't necessarily need to have a mask, but if you are indoors where there are a lot of people and you're not socially distanced and the restaurant or the hotel requires it, then you are asked to wear a mask.
Okay. Ursula Barzi in the UK. What's been the response to the Anguilla Work from Paradise program?
We have almost 300 applications. There's been a really great response to the program. It's still operating, and we have up to date about 300 applications. I believe, I don't have the exact figures on how many of those applications have been approved and what stage they're at. And, I can make some inquiries and get back to Ursula with that information. But I know that in terms of the application process, we've had a great response.
Alex Holder asked, do you think the fully vaxxed entry requirements that Anguilla has is one that can be applied across the Caribbean?
Every destination needs to make that determination for itself, based on their, their situation, the feelings of their populations. In Anguilla, we thought it was really important for us to meet this threshold for herd immunity, that we're well on the way to reaching, with 60% of our population having had both doses so far. But I really, it's not really our position to speak for the other islands.
Okay, Trinidad, please stand by. We'll be on with you with just a few seconds. But one final question from Alex. How do tourists staying at villas or hotels who are fully vaxxed, how do the protocols differ from those who are fully vaxxed but are staying in residential properties?
Okay, the persons staying in residential properties have a 4-day quarantine. That's the major difference. They are asked to stay in place for the 4 days of the quarantine. They're tested on day 4. And if they test negative, then they're free to roam around the island like the residents, like the visitors that are staying in hotels and villas. That's the key difference.
Well, thank you so much, Alison. We're just out of time. Thanks for the questions. And let's Heidi Alert, who is the head of Trinidad Tourism, is all set and ready to go. Heidi, I know you also have got a PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead, and it's over to you.
Thank you, Johnson. And watch our video, please.
Yes, please.
It's in the chat.
Please put it in the chat, and I'll share it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Johnson. Good morning, everybody. Thank you to your team as well for organizing and coordinating this opportunity to talk about our destination. So all this talk about videos, I am going to share my screen, and hopefully tech will not fail us, right? I know you do all the testing and everything beforehand, and let us hope that this all works out clearly. Johnson, you're seeing, can you just confirm for me, please? Yes, I see a head nod. I think that's an okay. So this is just a few seconds, but let me give a little taste of sweet, sweet Trinidad. Sweet, sweet Trinidad. Sweet, sweet Trinidad. All right, so I know some of the danger of doing that, and I realize you might have picked up on a little theme in that video of food, right? So you see the pilau, you see the doubles, you see all those things in the video. So my apologies for those of you that are not in Trinidad at this moment and you don't get to taste all the goodness of our culinary delights, but hopefully this does whet your appetites and some of the things that you would have seen in the video. I'm really happy to talk about today with you. So Trinidad and Tobago, and I know my counterpart Louis and his team will be presenting specifically on Tobago in just a little bit, I think right after this or in a few minutes. But we are a twin island nation. And specifically, but what you will see and the flavors that you will get from each of the destinations is quite distinct. And even as you see some of the profiles of our niches here, and I do hope that you're not seeing the bar on top in terms of, Johnson, hopefully it's not blocking the header in terms of what's shown on my screen, but hopefully you're getting a feel for some of the images and destinations that you have here. But we have a truly diverse and rich culture-rich experience for those that come to visit. So whether you are looking from, the skyscrapers in our downtown Port of Spain, which is actually where I'm speaking to you from today, just a short drive, you can reach our north coast, some of the eco products in terms of and experiences. Whenever you look at our leatherback turtles, you can have some bacon shark, hiking, biking, a lot of exciting things to do in Trinidad itself. Background and context, the elephant in the room that none of us like to necessarily talk about, but it is a reality that I know is familiar to each of my colleagues and counterparts that have experienced this last year and a half. And really, as we look to move forward and cast our eyes to the future, we are really looking forward to seeing a great story and turnaround, not just for Trinidad, but for the entire region. So for Trinidad specific, just to give some context, we actually, our borders just reopened on July 17th. Our borders were fully closed for 17 months to really curb the spread of the pandemic. We still have measures in place, such as there is a state of emergency, which basically restricts movement after certain periods. So just really during the night. And also there are restrictions in place in terms of what is open right now. It has been a very cautious reopening approach rather than, because a lot of times, and what every destination has experienced in terms of these kind of stop start and really just even and trying to get a handle on the pandemic as a whole. I think the government and nation and our destination has really taken a strong approach to curb the spread of the pandemic. And we are really happy to see from a vaccination standpoint in terms of the availability of vaccinations. And I've been listening to the presentations. I know that is one of the questions that comes up I think to every destination. So we do have vaccinations available. Almost all of the WHO approved vaccination brands are available locally. We have, as of the most recent numbers, we have over 550,000 individuals who have been vaccinated. That represents just around 40% or so of the population. And so we are on a big vaccination drive and push, and we are really happy to see the numbers and the uptake that has been taken, because we know as a destination and in managing the pandemic, that is one of the strongest defenses and sources of protection for both visitors as well as the local populace. So getting back to Destination Trinidad. So what are we known for, and what are the specific niches? So you will see here, we have sports, events, eco, and business and conference tourism. And so you see some representation of each of those. Again, each one is opening back in time. So in terms of events, we do not have anything confirmed at this point in time or open, but certainly, again, we want to be able to look towards the future and what we will be focusing on and looking forward to as things continue to progress. So recovery strategy. So what really has to happen here, and again, I think it's a similar theme to what has been shared from each destination, is that consumer confidence and visitor confidence is absolutely pivotal and key to the reopening success. And so you want to ensure that whenever somebody comes to visit, that they feel confident and comfortable with the safety measures that are in place. And then also for the tourism providers and for those of us that live here, we want to ensure the protection of the local populace as well. And so rebuilding that confidence in health and safety is of utmost importance. And then also the building awareness and understanding the importance of who we are. So a lot of this has been done through inspirational destination efforts. We've done virtual reality tours. We launched, I think actually this has come up. I mean, let me not jump ahead of myself. And before I get the buzzer from Johnson, I realize how you have the buzzer going on some of the things. Let me not jump ahead of myself and stick to what's on here. So even in terms of the protocols and presentations, and I'm going to talk in just a second about the 2 stamps that we utilize, we have done a lot of training, sensitization, and working with our stakeholders, and that is an ongoing process. Mask mandates are in place holistically. So for everybody, once you are outside of your home or your private residence, a mask is required. And that is one of the things that truly helps to curb the spread. whenever we look at some of the initiatives, so like many destinations, and Trinidad is no exception, when our borders were closed, one of the most important things from a tourism perspective was encouraging a successful domestic tourism. And so the sweet, sweet Trinidad is really what we embraced. And what we saw from a tourism perspective, that is some of those silver linings that can come out of crisis. And we really had the opportunity to showcase our destination to our citizens and ensure that everybody knows kind of what is in your backyard, what you have to explore, and turning our citizens and residents into our biggest brand ambassadors, I think is one of the things that we were really excited to see. And also a lot of our tour operators would have created a lot of unique and new experiences that we are really excited about. Another development, airlift is one of the things that comes up very much in these presentations. And we are thrilled to share that KLM is commencing, and they have announced that they are coming to the destination, well, in really just a few weeks' time, in October 2021. So that opens up a whole world of potential that we are very excited with the European market. And then our destination website, let me just make a plug for visittrinidad.tt, because everything that I won't be able to say in 6 minutes time for my presentation, we have over 150 pages of content on our website that talk about the destination. It talks about planning your trip, the protocols that are in place. It has a lot of resources and is very content rich with what we offer as a destination.
You only have 8 minutes left.
Okay, give me just 60 more seconds to get to this, then I promise we'll go through the questions, right? But we have our visit home for the diaspora. We are looking at regional and international arrivals. We have 4 new virtual tours that were launched at the Dubai Expo, which is beginning in October as well. Product development, investment continues. And let me just jump to, well, these are some of the programs that we have locally. And then what I really wanted to just kind of touch on was here in terms of the Safe Travel stamp from the World Travel and Tourism Council. And then also on a regional basis, we have been really proud of our very own CARFA, which is the Caribbean Public Health Agency, and the work that they have been doing to promote a healthier, safer tourism. And we've had a number of entities that have taken up these stamps that again ensure ongoing compliance with health and safety protocols. So I will leave you with some of those images, and of course, visit Trinidad, right? So Johnson, yes.
Thank you so much, Heidi.
No problem.
And will you please, as soon as you're able to, just convert to PDF the presentation, send it to me so I can make it available to everyone here who would like to copy. Yeah, lovely. Let's go to this question from Ursula Barzi in the UK. When will government tourism organizations make a decision or an announcement as to whether or not Carnival 2022 will take place?
I know this kind of nail biting, right? In terms of, and as I was hearing it asked to all the destinations, of course, Trinidad Carnival, we all look forward to the day whenever we can safely resume that. So the short answer is that is above my pay grade, and I don't have an answer in terms of when or if. No announcement has been made at this time, but certainly we eagerly await, but we do so absolutely knowing that it has to be done safely. And so we are in full support of that. But my short answer is, unfortunately, no, I don't have an answer.
From the indefatigable Gay Myers. Unvaccinated kids traveling with vaccinated families exempt from PCR tests before arrival.
Right. So, and I will again point to visittrinidad.tt. We have a whole webpage that is always kept up to date. The short answer to it is that, yes, if you have unvaccinated children that are traveling with vaccinated parents, they do not have to quarantine, and they are just kind of treated as their parents. So right now, once somebody is fully vaccinated and has a negative PCR test, they can enter the country and there's no quarantine period and there are no restrictions. So that is there. But I do encourage, because again, these things do go through changes. And if you keep in touch on visittrinidad.tt, you will be able to find all the resources you need for those specific questions.
Okay. We've got Montserrat coming up next. So Montserrat, make sure you're ready. I think the question that Brian Major had about Carnival has been answered as well. Gay also wants to know an update on airlift from the United States.
Yes, so right now what we have in place, and let me just pull up my list because I knew that was going to be coming as well. So currently Caribbean Airlines and Copa are flying in. They have, well, it's daily flights. Miami has 4 times weekly, New York 4 times weekly, Guyana daily, Toronto 3 times weekly. That's Caribbean Airlines. And then Copa is twice weekly right now and will move to 3 times weekly from October. And then we do have tentative dates. Well, KLM, I mentioned already, is in October. United for early November, British Airways late October, JetBlue early October, American Airlines early November, Air Canada early November. And we are also still waiting on dates from other airlines because, of course, Trinidad, we are really proud and happy with the airlift that we have coming in. But there, hopefully that answers the questions of what exists now and what is soon to come.
And let me do the follow-up that Jim Byers, I know, and Melanie will ask about Canada. All flights from Toronto, are they?
Yes, so there's ones right now. What I mentioned in terms of Caribbean Airlines flies 3 times weekly from right now, and Air Canada is expected to return. The exact date is November 11th as of right now.
All from Pearson in Toronto, yeah?
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, just making sure we're coming. Now, Indiana's asks about Spanish-speaking personnel in the tourism sector. She's familiar with Trinidad and Tobago. She said one of the problems experienced there in the past was the lack of Spanish-speaking personnel in the sector. Has that changed?
I think, yes, in terms of you will see even, at the airports and around, you definitely see an increased usage of Spanish. And kind of the multilingual availability, if you want to call it that. And then I think also technology as a whole. So whether you're using apps or that sort of thing, and that's another thrust that I would share, even coming out of the pandemic and from a destination standpoint, moving towards digital first and embracing of digital technologies is something that we are wholeheartedly embracing. Especially coming out of the pandemic. And so even whenever you look at things like translation and ability to communicate in different things, I think you will see an increase. And I am really excited to see about some of these initiatives and share about some of the initiatives that will be coming forward.
Brian Major in the US, Trinidad and Tobago is very popular with US-based diaspora. But
Yes.
How's your agency reaching out to core Caribbean leisure travelers based in the US?
Yeah, so and this is, and I heard the response, and we are in a similar boat to some of our, again, our neighbors, in terms of if we had $1 billion, there's a lot more we would be doing in terms of, we would love to be in every city, in every media, and so forth. So certainly we are looking forward to increasing, and I think especially with the digital uptake, in terms of increasing our reach to more cities, into more areas and so forth. So we do look forward to continued outreach, but the diaspora specifically, and kind of our theme of visit home and come home, and kind of taste your granny's lunch, and a lot of initiatives that would speak to diaspora, is one of the first kind of recovery, especially for us who do have a very strong diaspora presence, one of the first recovery levers that we expect to be looking at.
Andrea Perez Sobers, the question, there it goes, because she started asking the question and it just felt like she fell asleep at the keyboard.
Oh no.
No, Andrea, she doesn't do that, would she? With most of the entertainment sector and sites still closed, how will Tourism Trinidad Limited attract tourists?
Right. So, I mean, and this is something we know the closure is certainly not indefinitely. So things are reopening in a phased process. And what we are looking to do now is at least do the forward planning to be able to encourage. And we have seen visitors even during this time to be able, I think one of the first visitors whenever Caribbean Airlines started back, we were really proud. It was a diaspora who had come to visit and he just wanted doubles, right? So it's like you come for the food. That is his first experience. So you do see those with a strong affinity already for the destination will be your first to come back, and they will be willing and able to be able to deal with any of the challenges. But in terms of for future planning, that is also what we were really looking to do, is stay top of mind so that whenever things do open, it is safe for everybody to be out and about. We want to ensure that we are top of mind and that folks are able to book and experience sweet, sweet Trinidad.
Warren Solomon, please turn on. I'm just going to pose this one question to Heidi Alert to answer it very quickly, and then we'll switch to Montserrat, where the other Trinidadian is. What kind of marketing is TNT doing to attract new airlift and visitors? From Laura Dorich Phillips.
Sure, and the airlift is something that, again, I know is a ongoing conversation, and these, even with the KLM announcement that would have come, that is something that has been years in the works in terms of being able to both attract as well as kind of foster the airlift discussions. And so we continue to do our part in terms of, so there's, we work very closely with Airports Authority, as well as TTAO, again, who will be up shortly from the Tobago. So we go hand in hand looking at the destination and the nation as a whole, and consistently working with the airlines to drive new airlifts. So that is an ongoing effort and one that we are committed to continuing to develop.
Well, thank you so much, Heidi Alert from Tourism Trinidad Limited. Warren Solomon in Montserrat.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Over to you. Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you, Johnson. That Trinidad place looks like somewhere I need to visit. Good morning.
We'll have you anytime, Warren. I will just get ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Let me just jump in very quickly here with a little bit of background, tell you where Montserrat is right now and how we've come here. The government announced on March 14th, 2020 that it would be closing borders to international visitors. And before I go any further, let me just share my screen here. Good. Yeah, so closed borders effective March 26th last year, of course, due to the spread of COVID. Ironically, it was almost surreal while the Honorable Premier was making this announcement on ZJB radio. The Tourism Division was waiting to go on air with our visiting media friends who were here to cover the annual St. Patrick's Festival. We had to ask them politely to leave the island. And I know Laura Dorich Phillips is on the phone, is on the call. You know, I'm sure she will remember that particular Saturday. And Laura, we definitely owe you one. From April 9th to 30th of 2020, the island was completely locked down with only limited movement allowed for medical care and purchasing essentials. Between April and July of 2020, the country recorded 13 cases and sadly 1 death. Those statistics held steady through February of this year, 2021, when an imported case and the subsequent community spread caused an increase in positive cases by 7, resulting in a second lockdown for a 3-week period. So to date, there have been 31 positive cases recorded. There are 6 that are currently active, but all in good condition and you know, quarantining and in isolation at home. And of course, you know, the 1 death. In terms of border control, our borders have remained closed to tourist traffic since March of last year, but nationals, residents, villa and homeowners and holders of the remote worker stamp, which I'll speak about more shortly, have been allowed entry. As the government slowly adjusts the entry requirements, it announced last week that as of October 1, vaccinated passengers will be allowed entry to Montserrat. And more details will be provided in the next statutory rules and orders due at the end of September. But what this means is that in addition to the previously mentioned list of travelers already allowed to enter Montserrat, any guest arriving by air would be permitted entry once he or she is vaccinated. The approach to a complete reopening of the borders is a phased one, and the decision has been taken to keep the maritime borders closed to cruise traffic at this time. Our Ministry of Health and Social Services would be closely monitoring the progress with stayover visitors, reporting their assessments to the Cabinet on a periodic basis to assist in their decision making. Additionally, the Montserrat Tourism Stakeholders Advisory Council, they collaborated with the Tourism Division and the Ministry of Health and Social Services to develop a roadmap for reopening the borders. This has assisted tremendously in helping government formulate its plans and to keep them up to date on the state of the industry. In terms of entry and on-island protocols, a negative PCR test taken no earlier than 5 days before arrival is required by all visitors over 12 years of age, along with the online registration and pre-clearance from health and immigration authorities. Anyone expecting to visit Montserrat must complete the online access declaration form no later than 3 days before booking their ticket. A link to that form is on the homepage of the government website, gov.ms. Fully vaccinated arrivals would be required to quarantine for 5 days with a release test on day 4, and they'll only be released if, of course, the test is negative. Unvaccinated arrivals will proceed to quarantine at home, either their home, place of occupancy, or designated quarantine facility. They would be tested within 24 hours of arrival, and a follow-up test done on day 12 or 13. And of course, they'll be released on day 14 if they test negative. Visitors would be responsible for covering the cost of the test, and these are broken down as follows. Fully vaccinated travelers would pay $55 US. Unvaccinated would pay $111. Children under 18 would be free. Physical distancing in business places such as banks, supermarkets, and shops will be reduced to 3 feet with a strict mask mandate. Masks must be worn by everyone entering a business. So what have we been up to? Well, certainly within the last 18 months, we've been, those have been particularly challenging for all businesses, but we knew that we simply didn't have the luxury to sit back and wait for a miracle to happen. One of the key elements of our tourism product is our network of trails, which appeal to hikers, walkers, and trekkers. We've embarked on a series of upgrades which seek to make the experience a safer and more enjoyable one, including the installation of handrails, rope handrails, signage, and viewing stops, as well as widening some areas to make passage more comfortable. We've installed shower and toilet facilities at 3 of our main beaches, and we're currently constructing a 4th one. That one is in our main entertainment area, our most popular beach, and it will cater for those that are physically challenged. On the theme of health and wellness, the Oasis Spa that had previously operated out of the Tropical Mansion Suites, they've now branched out on their own, and they're located in the Runaway Gut area. They offer body and skin treatments as well as hot stone massages using volcanic stones from the Soufriere Hills volcano. We've also resurfaced our airport runway and built a new air traffic control tower to continue to ensure a safe experience for travelers. The early lockdown in 2020, it pushed back our plans a bit for getting into the development works of our signature project, and that's the construction of the Volcano Interpretive Center. This facility will primarily focus on exhibiting the historical, scientific, and social evolution of the Soufrière Hills volcano, while showcasing how this natural geological phenomenon has impacted and sculpted the character of the island and its people throughout the years. The VIC, as we affectionately refer to her, is intended to enhance our tourism product by creating a space for cultural and educational exchange, enabling opportunities for the private sector, and it will become a landmark stop for visitors and residents alike. We're currently reviewing bids for the design of the facility and expect to break ground by the end of the year. In the area of property development, the Montserrat Football Association will soon add a new accommodation facility that will be a tremendous boost to our sport tourism efforts. The 35-room hotel is located adjacent to the Blakes Estate Stadium and is fully outfitted to cater specifically to sports teams and the hosting of events. There are two major developments that will happen on the island over the next 2 years. The first will be the construction of a new hospital with 24 beds. The preliminary design, as you can see here, has been selected, and we are now going into the detailed design phase. We expect construction to be completed by 2023. And the government will also be developing a new port facility with an extended pier and a breakwater. This is going to allow ships to physically dock, which they currently cannot do. We are now in the detailed design phase with construction to begin in 2022 and hopefully be completed by 2023. In terms of destination marketing, in October of last year, we launched our new website, visitmontserrat.com, an excellent vacation planning tool, if I do say so myself. And we hope that we'll be seeing even more activity on it after all of you write about our October 1 reopening. Earlier this year, we would have hosted our first virtual press trip, and I heard Glenn Beach a short while ago mention that this is part of the new reality. Indeed it is, and we are going to be planning more of these in the coming months for our media and trade partners. On February 1st, the government of Montserrat launched the remote worker stamp. I would have mentioned that earlier. And for a long time, we knew that anyone visiting the island almost immediately gets that home away from home feeling when they arrive here. And one thing that this pandemic era has demonstrated is that technology has changed the need for the typical office setting. Being able to work from anywhere has created an ideal opportunity for persons to escape, work, and explore. And it was against this background that the remote worker stamp was introduced. It's essentially a 12-month travel permit that allows a non-national who is employed and resident in another country other than Montserrat to visit and remain here for up to a year. Persons can apply for the stamp on montserratremoteworker.com, and the application fee is $500 for individuals and $750 for a family with up to 3 dependents. All of the information about the program is on the website, montserratremoteworker.com. So in the interest of time, I won't go into too much more detail. Another major initiative that engaged our stakeholders was that of training. And for the last 14 months, the Tourism Division has been facilitating a number of workshops that include customer service, tour and taxi operations, housekeeping, packaging and promoting souvenir items, social media for hospitality. And as we speak, our stakeholders have been participating in the Caribbean Safe Supercharged Service Training Workshops facilitated by the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association Education Foundation. This has really, really energized participants from a wide cross-section of service providers on the island, and more importantly, has laid the foundation for a more formal set of operating standards for tourism businesses. A series of protocols and guidelines has been developed, and our inspectors would be visiting establishments to ensure compliance. And once they meet all the requirements, they would be designated Montserrat service ready. This would be an ongoing program, and businesses would be inspected on an annual basis to renew their status. And there'll be more information on that program coming out soon. In terms of festivals, the year-end Montserrat Carnival makes a live comeback this year, happy to say. we like to say that we have the last Carnival of the year in the Caribbean, as well as the first. This year's event will take place during the period December 17 to January 1. While this year's festival would be a scaled-down version, it will include Calypso and Soca Monarch competitions. And I need not remind you that the Soca anthem, Hot, 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 was written and performed by one of Montserrat's national heroes, the mighty Arrow. And today, actually, we commemorate his passing back in 2010.
Warren, just want to let you know you have just a little over 5 minutes.
Good, wrapping up. There'll be a Queen Show, cultural extravaganza, and village festivals. And so we really look forward to kicking that off in December. And so as I wrap up, I just want to add that access to Montserrat is currently by air only. As I'm sure all of you know, Antigua is our international hub, so that travelers from any US or international gateway with service to Antigua easily make a same-day connection to Montserrat on either Fly Montserrat or SVG Air. Colin James yesterday from Antigua would have mentioned all of the different air services that have resumed, from American offering from Miami and JFK, as well as Charlotte, JetBlue 5 times a week from JFK, 3 times from Newark. But that information I will just put in the chat box without using up too much more time. We approach October 1st, confident that we can continue to manage the spread of COVID-19 with the knowledge that both the government and our tourism stakeholders will continue to do all that we can to ensure that our citizens and visitors can move around and enjoy the island in a safe and healthy environment. So thanks again to the CTO for this opportunity, and looking forward to any questions.
Okay, we got some questions, and we got 4 minutes. Ursula Barzi, whom I rather suspect has close association with Montserrat, she's in the UK. She says that BA and Virgin flights from London into Antigua are often delayed. So with current COVID restrictions and protocols, what arrangements have been made with the Antigua government for passengers who miss their connecting flights to Montserrat and then need to unexpectedly overnight in Antigua?
Right, that is actually something that the two governments are consulting on right now. There was, I know of a couple that experienced that and had to overnight in Antigua, I think as recently as the weekend. So that is something that both governments are discussing, and once there's a solution to that, we will advise. Thanks for that question.
Gay Myers, will vaccinated passengers only be allowed entry from the 1st of October? She said you've mentioned unvaccinated as well, and just need some clarity here.
Right. So for what we call tourists, yes, only vaccinated passengers. But currently, national citizens, home and villa owners must be, well, they don't have to be vaccinated. I'm sorry. They don't have to be vaccinated to enter the country.
Okay, from Ursula again, any idea when the ferry will return to Montserrat with current airlines flying Islander aircraft with just 7 seats? Access is limited, will be difficult during peak periods like Christmas and St. Patty's.
Yes, I myself am missing the ferry. Well, I know that the government is working on securing ferry services for peak periods in the short term, and then for, to operate permanently in the longer term. So that is more information that we hope to be able to share very soon.
Okay, the Americans say St. Patty's is actually St. Paddy's, so St. Patrick's Day. Got that. Now, James DeWinter wants to know, what's the status of the development of the new capital town?
Of the new what, sorry?
The new capital, new town.
The new town.
Yes.
There was a master plan for the development of a new town with the destruction of the original capital, Plymouth. There's been some work over the years, but the best plans always encounter hurdles from time to time. And so the development of Little Bay as the new town center, it is moving pretty slowly, admittedly. We expect that the Volcano Interpretive Center, which will be located there, would be a boost. And although not a tourism facility, there is the construction of a new financial services complex that is going to start construction pretty soon, I think by the end of the year, so that that area would begin to take on a different look.
Okay, I think Tobago is next. Louis, please turn on your camera, microphone. We're ready for you. Just one quick thing here. It's from Narissa Small, who wants to videos and info on Montserrat. She's given us her email address. She is in Panama, and you can send stuff to me, can't you, Warren, and I will get that to her, yeah?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, okay, Louis is all set and ready to go. Louis, it's over to you.
All right. Thank you.
Louis, there's something you did in the test that's not happening now, because the video is lovely, the sound isn't there.
Yeah, thank you, Johnson. I think what happened is that my mic was muted, so you missed the song, but I think the most important part of it was the actual video.
And please send me this video as well, because
I will send it to you. It's all embedded in my presentation. So I just want to place this presentation into context, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to make my sales pitch, which is a brief one. The question is, why Tobago? We have the longest protected rainforest reserve in the Western Hemisphere. We have 42 different types of sand on our beaches. We actually have been rated by the Audubon Society as having the 5th highest per capita to bird species. And it really comes from the fact that we are an island destination, but we have a sort of a continental flora and fauna. And we actually have changed hands among the Europeans 35 times. So if you're looking for somewhere that exhibits in its whole cuisine, its culture, and its presentation, that reflects the discipline of the British, the romance of the French, and the strength of the Africans, as well as the flair of India, you needn't look nowhere else but at Tobago. In addition to that, we have the Man and the Biosphere, which is a UNESCO designation that allows us to coexist with the natural environment. I will speak about that when I talk to collaboration that we have engaged in the post-COVID environment. We also have 23 species of non-venomous snakes. And if that's your preference, they are safe, colorful, and interesting. And we have a destination that in the last time when the world was normal, we were rated 2nd in terms of a destination branding by the World Travel Organization, as well as just last evening, we copped another award from the German market, but I'm restrained on announcing it here. So this is the first articulation that you are hearing. We did come 2nd in an international award from Germany, but I will speak to that, a little later. So these are the reasons for choosing and visiting Tobago as this iconic island that stands out. What did we do immediately after shutdown? The first thing the Tobago Tourism Agency engaged in was a strategic planning session where we developed a roadmap for growth. And it is built on 4 pillars: growth, sustainability, collaboration, and competitiveness. And everything that we have done in that post-COVID environment is focused on at least one of those pillars, but in most cases, multiple. And we have really emphasized on the concept of sustainability, and you will see that featured in a number of areas that we have focused on. Because what we did was get into the psyche of the potential traveler. What will they be looking for in a post-COVID environment? What will people be comfortable with? What will people be looking for? And we didn't want it to just be accolades and actions that we were comfortable with, but we look for the world-recognized signature accreditation. So the first one was the WTTC stamp of safe travel. And we have to date over 200 properties approved. And we are either the destination with the most, but definitely the highest percentage of properties that have attained that standard, which speaks to the safety of what we present to the potential visitors. It's something that we are working very closely with, and we have found a way between Trinidad and Tobago as one country to morph it into the Caribbean Travel Health Assurance stamp for a healthy tourism destination. And we are now currently in the process of accrediting our various operators so that we can exhibit to the marketplace when we do open up fully, and I say fully, that we have a safe destination to visit. The Tobago Tourism Agency has actually also been engaged in a mask on campaign, and we did that from very early as our part to contribute towards a safety visit to our destination. So we had a mask on campaign that really targeted a number of social influencers, important persons, really asking and employing people to wear their mask, adhere to the safety protocols. And of course, that was coming on the heels of having the WTTC endorse safe travel manual where everybody, actually adhered to the protocol. So that was an initiative that was that has been implemented, and actually it is still ongoing. It's a little longer than this thing where you see me on the left-hand side, they're putting a mask on, but it's a full-blown campaign. As I mentioned, sustainability has been a very important part of our actions in the post-COVID environment, and sustainability that speaks to the strapline, unspoiled, untouched, and undiscovered. This is what we think the new traveler will be looking for. And we have been blessed with a set of assets that speak directly to that. So we will actually play to our strengths, and we have been and we continue to. One of those areas where we have been very fortunate is that to date, 2 of our properties have attained the Green Key certification. And for those on the European side who are familiar with this, it's a recognized environmental sustainability accreditation for properties. It also extends to restaurants, sites, and attractions. And while we have 2 properties that have already attained the certification and continue to work on that, we have about 10 which are very, very close. And if we probably had this meeting a little later on, we would probably be talking about 12. Tobago has been awarded Blue Flag pilot status for 3 of our beaches. That's Mount Irvin, Bloody Bay, and Kings Bay. And that Blue Flag status is the first in the English-speaking Caribbean with that well, we have the highest volume in the English-speaking Caribbean. And we are about to take another accreditation, which is to have the first Blue Flag operator in the English-speaking Caribbean. So when you put those features together, Blue Flag certification, Green Key, Blue Flag operator, you get a sense and you get the direction in which we are focusing with regard to sustainability. We add to that the fact that we have UNESCO manning the biosphere, and while the agency did not specifically handle that, it's part of a collaboration with the Division of the Environment. And that we think is a very dynamic accreditation because it allows you to coexist with the natural environment and doing it in a sustainable way that features your heritage, your culture, your flora and fauna, and economic activity taking place at the same time. So it's a very dynamic accreditation for us to keep and hold. We also have a recycling initiative where we are recycling, repurposing some of the waste. And we have the accompanying principles that allow us to do those initiatives because the Executive Council, the THA for the Executive Council has actually taken on board a policy to reduce styrofoam usage throughout the entire government operations. And hopefully the wider public will embrace that as we go forward. In terms of product enhancements, there are a number of initiatives that we have taken on. And that is really to take advantage of the shadow period of the pandemic where we can enhance our competitiveness so that when we get back to a full reopening, we will be better than we came in. And that is done by deliberate actions. Yeah, and some of those include the tourism accommodation upgrade program. That is a facility that the government has put in place to allow the properties, the accommodation establishment in particular, to upgrade their offerings so that guests could engage in an enhanced product. There's also the tourism accommodation relief grant, and that was, as the title says, grant. It was monies passed on to various operators to allow them to improve the product that they have. So a facelift, the addition of small amenities, a paint job, new furniture, those were some of the amenities that were approved. And there has been a strong take-up, and that is an ongoing initiative, and the Tobago Tourism Agency is actually managing that. And then we have the Trinidad and Tobago Tourism Industry Certification, and we have 124 properties that have actually signed up. So at a very minimum, there is a level of service delivery that you will receive, and that is authenticated by the Bureau of Standards, the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, so that we are presenting to our potential visitors a high quality product.
You have 9 minutes, yeah?
Yes, I will wrap up immediately. We also launched wellness from a Tobago standpoint, wellness tourism initiative, where we had Exploring Tourism Wellness 360. And that was to stimulate the service providers who are presenting those options for visitors. And we are looking to enhance it so that when we get out of the restrained conditions for travel, we will be offering those products to our visitors. And the last one that I want to touch on is the uplifting service. It's really an initiative directed at enhancing customer service delivery. We are partnering with Uplifting Service. It's a world-recognized company with Ron Kaufman as the head, a well-received and well-branded initiative that is geared towards enhanced customer service delivery. It's a 3-year program, and we are going to touch all points of service delivery in the visitor experience. So that is an initiative that has already started about 6 weeks ago, and we are ongoing with that. The last one is that we have a new property that will soon open, which is the Comfort Inn and Suites in Tobago, 74 rooms, and it should be available for booking in the not too distant future. So I would, and then the last item is that all information regarding entry into Tobago is available online through the Visit Tobago website, as well as the Trinidad Tourism Limited website. You register and you can visit Tobago. All flights right now are channeled through Trinidad, but there's an active ferry and a air bridge that are available for visitations onto Tobago. Thank you very much, and I'm open for questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd just like to remind all of you, if you've got a question, please enter it in the Q&A segment. And then quickly, I've got a link to the notes from the minister from St. Lucia. It's in the chat in the 12:02 p.m. Area slot, and then the Anguilla presentation at 12:24. You've got a link to that as well. You can get that. Louis, when you get a moment, please just PDF this, send it to me so I can share it with those who are here and those who aren't as well. I've got a question from, well, really a couple questions from Indiana, but before, let me go to Gay, because I think this one is very easy to respond to. Are the entry requirements for Tobago the same as for Trinidad?
Yes, they are identical. But maybe I can just add that currently the international flights coming through Trinidad, and you access Tobago via the ferry, the sea ferry, or the air bridge, which is facilitated by Caribbean Airlines.
From Indiana Montez, and it's a question about Spanish-speaking personnel in the tourism sector. What's like in Tobago?
Well, fortunately, I piggyback on my colleague Heidi before. It's identical. We are now infusing that into our promotional language. Part of our website, which is already there. The social media platforms eventually will incorporate the Spanish language as well.
And she said there are lots of golfers in Latin America, and was wondering if this is something Tobago is pursuing, sort of the golf market, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, well, we do have 2 golf courses on the island, and of course, with the closure of the island from since 2020, we've had a reduction in persons actually coming for that activity, but it's definitely going to be part of our offerings to the public. So you can look out for some announcements in that regard.
And from Laura Dorich Phillips, what's the latest for the Magdalena Grand? It was supposed to be operated by an external operator, she said.
Well, I don't know that there has been any change. It is still operated by the government, and I think there are still discussions on the way for some transition by interested parties. So that's still a government property at this time.
And what sort of marketing are you doing now or planning for North America, UK, when North America includes the US and Canada and the UK?
Well, we know it will be a phased return to business. The UK is our strongest market, and what we are focusing on is the clientele that are aligned with the product that we have, so that within the 4 themes of competitiveness, environmental sustainability, et cetera, we have 101 reasons for visiting Tobago. So we are reaching out to birders, divers, people who are looking for soft adventure, and of course the traditional things of sun, sea, and sand. That is an active engagement. It takes the airline engagement, the tour operators, travel agents, and we are aligning with a number of catchments. So people who are looking for what we have, previous visitors, and we know the first set of people who are going to come back is the diaspora. So that is where we are striking some strategic alliances, and you will be seeing a lot more of us when the market is fully open.
Are you doing right now a lot of digital marketing? Is this the way you are going? Or, are you planning on the road, as some countries have said they will do now?
Well, the digital marketing allows us to be crisp and very focused, and that is our strategic option. Is definitely what's at the forefront. The spearhead of our initiatives is actually digital.
We've got Raquel Brown, the CEO of St. Kitts Tourism, who is due next. Just want to make sure that she's all set. Raquel, please stand by, and we will be with you in just a few moments. One of the other things that we heard, and you raised it a little bit, is the diaspora and the questions that have been asked about how specifically are you targeting the diaspora?
Well, you see, the diaspora is not just about inviting them. There are several segments within the diaspora market. There are those who are looking to reconnect with family. There are those who are looking for the tropical escape, and there are those who are looking for events and adventure. And we are going to be reaching out to each of those various audiences, because they will be looking for different elements of a vacation experience. And we are in the process right now of segmenting those different niches within the diaspora market. But of course, a lot of the success depends on access to Tobago. And while they can come in now through Trinidad, we are anticipating a full open up, which hopefully will happen not too long from now. And then, we will be facilitating that re-entry. Right now, to engage it would almost be spilling money. So we are all prepped and primed and ready to go.
One of the key questions as well had to do with entertainment right now and the things to do in Tobago right now. I said,
yeah,
a lot of places of entertainment closed, bars closed. So what things to do?
Yeah, well, again, it's all part of taking advantage of the closure now. The government has just launched recently Tobago Performing Arts Company. And right now they are really gathering a number of different performances, presenters, and honing in their skills. And it ranges from digital right through to culture and heritage. And the whole idea is to work with that agency to ensure consistency, reliability, quality, and of course, a repackaging of some of the cultural assets that we have. So you can look out for some exciting presentations of Tobago's rich culture, as I mentioned at the top of my presentation, in all formats, to our visitors where they stay at hotels, and even to reach out to them in the market with snippets and encouragement in the near future.
And Andrea Perez Sobers asked whether any hotels closed permanently as a result of COVID.
Well, I wouldn't know whether they are closed permanently. I know that the operations are restrained now. Right now, we are dependent primarily on the domestic market, but I don't know of any full closures. I'm not aware of that at all.
Okay. Lewis, thank you very much. That's the head of Tobago Tourism. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure. And finally, we have to go to Raquel Brown of Louis. This is suggesting your time's up. So Raquel Brown of St. Kitts. Raquel, how do you do? Welcome.
Hi, Johnson. How are you? Hi, Louis. Good morning, afternoon, everyone.
Yep. It's over to you. Take it over.
I just wanted to, oh boy.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfectly. So yesterday was a very good day. And it's really a good day in terms of hope and restarting the travel and tourism industry, specifically for cruise. We had the celebrity Aquanauts birth at Port Zante. We had a bubble vaccinated site, attraction site, Port Zante set up. Most of you who don't know, Port Zante is an open port. We're probably the only open port in the Caribbean. And so it was quite a challenge to get our vendors travel approved, which is a certification that we have on island for tourist sites, attractions, or accommodation to meet the minimum standards to operate during this time as we go through COVID-19 and the different reiterations and variants that we have at this time. So we actually had 1247 persons on the ship, and they were able to go on their tours, and they're all bubble sites. They're all travel approved, and persons must be fully vaccinated to operate a tour or an attraction site specifically for cruise. We had 1247 passengers and about 918 crew. Persons came off their tours and then they went into Port Zante. They did shopping. It's not normally what it is in the hustle and bustle time. As we speak for stayover, effective November 2nd, the American Airlines will start their daily Miami flight. And so we're really going from Wednesdays and Saturdays only, which has been our, basically our frequency and our schedule from late last year when we reopened our borders for stayover October 31st. It's been quite a challenge, I know, for other Caribbean islands, and, we are moving ahead. We will be doing a promotion for the destination, and it will not just be digital marketing. It will also speak to sales, giving incentives for travel agents. Also, we will be doing a public relations integrated plan, getting more information about St. Kitts. We have the highest vaccination rate in the OECS and CARICOM at this time. 76% of our population, adult population over 18, have received their first shot, and 66.3% have received their second shot. So we are doing pretty well, and we'll continue to do that. For stayover, at this time, our quarantine for vacation in place still remains 4 days, but we hope to see that change and improve come when the daily flight starts November 2nd, because it does affect bookings and it does affect our competitive state for the destination. For stayover, it is still the requirement as of May 29th that you must be fully vaccinated, and the approved vaccinations, the 6 vaccinations that have been approved by WHO and we approve at this point in time, and you must have your first dose or your about 1-dose series, you're 14 days to be fully vaccinated, or if it's a 2-dose series, you must have 14 days after the 2-dose series. It's been a very interesting time for us. We have seen when we launched our 5-day getaway promotion in April, we saw May and June improve dramatically compared to what we were experiencing in Q1. So we know there's a lot of interest for the destination. Our messaging is that we remain safe. We are mitigating, we're controlling our environment. Yes, it is something that requires to be fluid in terms of protocols. We probably do have the strictest protocols, but I just like to remind everyone that St. Kitts is the smallest independent nation in the Caribbean, and the resources that other nations may have, our healthcare system cannot be overburdened, because then it presents a problem for even just day-to-day life for our nationals and our residents here on island. So at this point in time, where we sit, we have bubble vaccinated tours approved for cruise visitors when they come in, and antigen tests are permissible 72 hours within their embarkation from their home port. Those are allowed, but if they're unvaccinated, because we do know unvaccinated persons do come on cruise ships, they are required to do an RT-PCR test. However, all persons must be 12 years old and must be 12 years and older to have to be fully vaccinated. So I am not quite sure. I don't want to talk too much anymore. We will have our JFK flight introduced in November, the Saturday before Thanksgiving on American Airlines. And for Newark, we will have the Saturday before Christmas for United Airlines. We already have running at for November, says a little unstable, for November, we do have Charlotte and Atlanta back on our weekly Saturday flight. It is scheduled for November 7th, Air Canada to resume their weekly flight, and it will now be on a Sunday this season. And come October 3rd, if my memory serves me right, yes, British Airways will resume their service once per week to the destination for the month of October. So at this time, I think I have shared quite a bit, and I'm not sure if there are any questions.
Okay, yes, we do have a few questions already, and I expect I'm certain something on cruise from Brian Major. He doesn't miss an opportunity. We've got something from Gay and possibly Melanie. There's a question about flights from Canada. Can you give an update on that?
Sure, if they go to either Air Canada website, or they go to Air Canada Vacations, they will see the information and the promotion. There's currently a seat sale taking place right now for the destination, so the information is there. The flight actually starts on the 7th. It is also available on our website, updated when the flight will start. You'll see the link, but in relation to the flight schedule, the time it leaves, that's all available on the Air Canada site and Air Canada Vacation site.
7th of which month?
The 7th of November.
And that's from Pearson, Toronto.
Pearson, Toronto, direct to St. Kitts. It's nonstop, yes.
Okay. Gay Myers wants to know whether the travel protocols changed as a result of the level 4 CDC travel advisory.
No, they haven't changed. We are still in the position where we are. The level 4, I find it quite interesting because it basically now includes many countries in the world. But we have the strictest protocols. We're not getting any stricter. We're not going to increase quarantine, or we're not going to, at this point in time, have a lockdown. At this point in time, it remains 4 days for vacation in place. You must quarantine. And also, please remember that with this level 4 rating that CDC has now given us, we have a vaccination rate of 76% of our adult population, 18 and over, having had their first shot, and 66% having their second shot, fully vaccinated. So in terms of a society that is meeting the vaccination requirement, and we still practice the non-pharmaceutical measures. We have not removed we reopened or pre-COVID reopening. We have always mandated persons need to wear masks. If you are in the tourism sector, you must wear 3-ply minimum surgical masks. You must practice social distancing, and there's sanitizers. So none of the non-pharmaceutical measures have changed as we reopen for stay over or cruise. But we will, at this point in time, we're not having a lockdown. We feel our vaccination rate and what we are doing is complementing. It's a surge and it's Delta, and the health officials have said this is the route we'll take as of right now. Things remain fluid, but as of today, no.
Okay. A follow-up, have you seen any impact on tourist bookings or arrivals as a result of the CDC level 4 advisory?
I think it's too early to say because it came out very recently, I think Monday. I think it will flag a few concerns, which is why yesterday we were able to start sharing with the press what was happening with the celebrity equinox. I think it's very important in terms of 1,247 people came to the destination and it went very well. We will continue to share the information, but in terms of bookings, because the booking window for St. Kitts has dramatically reduced, we're in this Delta surge. We have not seen the complete impact yet. I think by next week, I should be able to answer that a lot better, but right now I think it's still too early because of when the CDC rating was issued very recent, like within the last 48, 72 hours.
Yeah, and that's a good segue to the question from Brian Major, whether St. Kitts, the cruise activity is poised to approach the 2019 levels by 2022?
I think going back to 1 million for any destination is extremely hard, with the exception of having home ports. We're not a home port and we're not an island. We don't have an island for the cruise ships. So I think it's going to be very hard. We have always said with Reopen this season 21-22 is rebuilding for both cruise and stay over. It's a gradual procession. It is one where it's rebuilding. And so we are very conservative in managing expectations, both on the ground here as a destination in terms of the number of cruise ships that are coming per day, where we used to have 3-4 ships a day, we're now having 1 or 2 per week. And so it does provide some challenges. So right now we are rebuilding tourism, and it's not realistic to say we're going to get to 1 million in the 2021-22 season. I just think it's unrealistic for St. Kitts.
Okay, from Ursula Barzi in the UK, events like the music festival, will they be back on the schedule for 2022?
It's a hard one because the music festival is one where persons have to be integrating with each other, and there's a lot of physical interaction. There's a lot of persons that are coming in, and there's some requirements that have not changed yet. So, the music festival is one that at this point in time, it's still very early, not saying that we haven't looked at it, but it's still very early, especially with the Delta variant, what we are doing and how we're going to approach. We did have CPL, we hosted CPL this year with only 50% and only persons who were fully vaccinated, 50% of what Warner Park can hold. And also persons had to be fully vaccinated, and also children under 12 could attend. It was very heavily managed in terms of bringing in the different teams, but it also was a bubble in itself. So music festival was never designed to be a bubble. Persons sometimes just come for Thursday night. Some people have come for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some persons only come for Saturday night. So it is something that we are still looking at, but because it includes having so many persons coming from different geographic locations, we are still looking at it, and it's still very early days yet.
For the benefit of Gay Myers, Melanie, Dave Cumberbatch, Christian Legrand, and everyone else who is on this right now, what is CPL?
Oh, I am so sorry. I went into that space. Caribbean Premier League. So the Caribbean has their own Premier League, and we have our team, St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots, and they're in the finals for the first time tonight. And we are hosting it this year. Last year, it was hosted by Trinidad, and other years it's been hosted by other destinations. Like there are different rounds of games that are held, but we held the whole tournament here in St. Kitts and Nevis. It started August 28th, and it actually ends tonight.
By Premier League, you're not talking football, are you?
No, cricket. So for persons who love cricket, it's not football Premier League. I know for the US, cricket is still something that is very much related to the mostly Commonwealth and England, the UK, and India, which is a part of the Commonwealth. So the Caribbean Premier League it's what we call 2020 cricket. It's limited innings. It's not like test cricket, which can go on for 5 days. And it is done to actually be shorter, but more energetic and more competitive for persons who don't want to sit and watch a test match for 5 days. So this is our version of you've had the Indian Premier League, the Caribbean has their Premier League, and it's held every summer.
What have you learned from hosting this tournament that you can apply to future events as you begin to get them on the ground again?
You know, it's hard and not everything can be in a bubble. That's the reality. We are trying very hard to work with the limitations that COVID-19 has presented us. However, there are challenges and there's a level of risk that we all know. And so there's an idea, what level of risk are you willing to take and how are you willing to manage it? And so it has really taught us that as we continue to evolve, whether just for stayover or for even cruise itself, which is deliver for the destination in terms of achieving 1 million visitors and achieving a marquee port status. It's very difficult. And so it's an ever-changing game. But at the end of the day, it has taught us that, you know, bubbles are not for everyone and not everything can work, but we have to be innovative and creative and approach each situation in our tourism industry with an objective space.
And the most popular question is about marketing and targeting the various markets, the US, Canada, the UK, and the Caribbean. What's your program?
So the Caribbean is really hard right now because our lift for the Caribbean is really just LIAT or chartered flight still. And so for Caribbean marketing, unless it's someone visiting family, we are not really spending time, which is really focused around events. So for example, Sugar Mass, which is Carnival in December, it will partly be, there'll be no, as far as I know, right now, there will be no road march. It will be a virtual event. But persons come to Carnival to travel. So the events that actually drive our Caribbean marketing plan, a lot of those things have been kind of put on hold because of the type of activities that they are, and then also airlift. In terms of conferences, you know, persons are still restricted by their travel because some persons are not vaccinated, and we are a destination that you have to be fully vaccinated as of May 29th this year. As it speaks to the US has been our main focus since we reopened October 31st last year. It is predominantly where most of our travel is from. And as I said, when I opened up, we will have a promotion for the upcoming winter. It will include both the travel trade and direct marketing to consumers. It will have what I would say digital marketing supported by social media, but we'll also have it supported by PR, a public relations campaign, so that persons are hearing about the destination. As it speaks to Canada and the UK, we just had the flights loaded. They're due to come for October 3rd is the first flight from the UK. Right now, there's a BA sale. So for anyone who wants to book St. Kitts from December onwards. Also for Canada, the sale is on from when the flight goes live November 7th and over the holiday season. So we are slowly rebuilding. We haven't had any service for Canada for over a year, and we have a winter service. That's all we have traditionally. And for the UK, we really haven't had any service because we've had a travel restriction in place from last year, and it was just lifted come September 1st. So it's a slow rebuild. We have learned from reopening for stayover. It usually comes with residents and nationals returning first. And then it's a slow rebuild for those persons who want to go to a destination that's the traditional Caribbean. And we've seen that also in our marketing feedback. And it is commonplace in all our source markets. So we will not have a seat sale for the US because there's so many carriers, but we will have a promotion from the different hotels in terms of the hotel offers that they will have. Okay, and the sale for the US, goes live October 1st.
Brilliant. Raquel Brown, CEO of St. Kitts Tourism Authority, thank you very much. And I'm sure things went well with you yesterday.
It was a good day, an awesome day.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And so thanks as well to every one of you who've been with us over the last 2 days and who stayed right through all of this. We had 17 destinations present in the last 2 days, 3 hours each day, and you were through with us. Thank you so very much. I mean, we really don't have enough words to express our thanks, but every destination seems to be pretty pleased, and the feedback I've got from the media who've been on, they've been pretty pleased with the content that we've had as well. So I want to thank all of you, and please, if you write anything, let us know, and if you need anything, you know how to reach me. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day.